You're still there.
Here.
Hold on, just
we're
a
just
moment.
in a moment. In a moment.
Tony Okoroji, just hold on. We're still here. We do sincerely. Tony Okoroji is with us here. Tony is not just a musician. Tony Okoroji is a musician's musician. Tony Okoroji, you're welcome to this special for Onyeka Onwenu.
Good morning, everybody who is listening. It's a very sad day for me and the entire creative industry in Nigeria. To lose, I'm completely devastated at the news of the death of my sister, my colleague, the iconic singer Onyeka Onwenu. It's shocking beyond words. Despite our recent differences, everyone knows that Onyeka was my dear friend and worked very closely with me in promoting Nigerian music. Onyeka was my vice president while I was president of PMAN. She served on my board at the period I was chairman of Performing and Mechanical Rights Society, PMRS. Onyeka also served on the board of COTSON, Copyright Society of Nigeria, with me as chairman. Many people will recall the week-long wall-to-wall events celebrating 25 years of Onyeka Onwenu on stage, which we themed All for Onyeka. That event I conceived and personally funded to promote and project the work of my dear colleague. And the event was produced with my good friend Patrick Doyle. It was one of the most cherished set of events in my life. Onyeka Onwenu was an incredibly talented Nigerian. We ate together, we traveled together, we performed side by side. In many ways, her passion, her excellence remains unequaled. I just wrote a tribute, on the excellent biography of Ken Caleb Zulumese, the ninth chief governor who just celebrated his 80th birthday. In the tribute, I mentioned Onyeka Onwenu, not knowing that while I was writing, my dear sister and friend was in a battle for her life. Nigeria certainly will have other successful female singers, but Nigeria will never have another Onyeka Onwenu. Yes, our creative family has lost a colossus, and the Nigerian nation has lost an icon. I don't know how to say this, but it's sad. Very, very sad.
Will Koson be doing something again because of Onyeka?
Of course, we are all talking. Everybody is still in shock. Everybody is amused. Everybody is saddened. But we are having discussions as to, what to do. And Onyeka can't just go like that. The industry, the entire industry must celebrate her incredible life and what she gave to make Nigerians happy wherever they are. Yes, you'll be hearing from us.
Oh, that's very
Koson
great.
has done that for Victor Waifo. Sir Victor Waifo did it for Fela Day, did it for all the icons. So Koson is all about
We
musicians.
just did something about Chris Mba.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yes.
We celebrate. I have traveled Nigeria celebrating Nigerian artists that have fallen, Balamila, name them.
Godioku.
Christy Estenibukwe, name them. Another female icon of the music industry. I've been at the funerals because our Koson, we do not just love you while you're alive, we love you while you're alive. We love you even in death. And we celebrate you big time. And you remember the big celebration of Ras Kimono when he passed on. God's son buried him like a king that he was. We buried Christianity like a princess, a queen, and I had to go to Abia State recently to bury Chris Mba. I was in Anambra to bury Godioku. I was in Benin to bury Victor Waifo. That is part of our work. And how can you say Onyeka Onwenu was on my board at Koson? So there is no way that you won't see us, because Onyeka must go home like a queen that she was. Thank you so much for giving this time to talk about my great sister. God bless all of you there. Please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Tony
much. Thank you
Okoroji.
very much, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
a very sobering moment for each and every one of us. It's time to read that message from the family. It is with heavy heart that I and my brother wish to announce the passing of our mother, a much-loved Onyeka Onwenu. She passed away on Tuesday, July 30th, 2024, in Lagos, Nigeria. She was rushed to the hospital after an amazing last performance, where doctors made every effort to save her life. Sadly, she passed. Onyeka Onwenu was a national treasure, an icon and legend who inspired multiple generations of Nigerians and people around the world with her music, acting, philanthropy, and humanitarian efforts. She's greatly loved and missed. We'd like to extend our thanks to those who were with her in her final moments and to the general public for their concern and support. As we take time to make the necessary plans, we'd like you all to take the time to remember her life, the contributions she made, and the impact she made on so many lives, including ours. Thank you all. Signed by sons Abraham and Tijani Ogunlende. Tony Okoroji, that you heard, also sent a tribute as a chairman, Copyright Society of Nigeria, COSAN. Said, this is shocking beyond words, despite our differences in recent times. Everyone knows that Onyeka was my dear friend who worked very closely with me in promoting the Nigerian music industry. She was my vice president when I was president of PMAN. She served on my board at a period I was chairman of Performing and Mechanical Rights Society, PMRS. Onyeka also served on the board of COSAN with me as chairman. Many will recall the week-long wall-to-wall events celebrating 25 years of Onyeka Onwenu on stage, themed All for Onyeka, which I conceived, personally funded, and produced with my friend Patrick Doyle. It was one of the most cherished events in my life. That's from Tony Okoroji. More tributes will definitely pour in. Fred, it's a sobering moment knowing that one day we are alive, the next moment we are gone. We're talking about Onyeka Onwenu's legacy. But a quick thought. Are all of us in Nigeria leaving behind legacies? Or are we waiting for legacies to leave us behind?
Big question. Some people are leaving legacies, some others are letting it leave them behind. But then is a wake-up call for everyone. Whatever you are doing, do it well. Whatever you are doing that will leave an impact positively, not negatively. After all, Oyenu still left an impact. And Nene also had an impact. Legacies of negativity. So it's now to think that death makes no promises. I want to go and do something tomorrow. Is it not when you are alive? And then whoever told Onyeka that after the performance of one of her best friends, Mrs. Stella Okoli, she will end up saying bye-bye. So let's leave legacies, positive one. That will be me.
Chris,
Yes.
a quick one.
Fading away like stars of the morning, that they lose their luster when the morning sun comes. That's how human beings will lead this life. It's a song, very classical song, Anglican song that they normally sing when they're burying people. But they say only be remembered by what we have done. Only remember, only remember, only remember by the works we have done. Thus we will live, and the world and is toiling, but we shall only be remembered by the works we have done. I live with that because my brother has said it all.
You also said it all too.
The elegant talent, Onyeka Onwenu, started a career in broadcasting in the early 80s. Was a singer, songwriter, actress, human rights activist, journalist, politician, you name it, she was there. And she made a mark all over. As we say, good night, Onyeka Onwenu. You have lived your life. It's time for us not to look back and say how sad it is letting you go, but the beauty of the things you set out to achieve, you did achieve them. Thank you for making lives better. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you.
Iwenjora. And thank you, Chris Maduka.
Thank
you
you
for making this special event special for Signature TV special event. I'm glad you were on board. Barry Kumo Adam is my name. I'll see you shortly during the news. Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Barry Kumo Ado. In the headlines, music icon Onyeka Onwenu dies at 72. EFCC continues interrogation of Hajj Commission chairman over alleged fund mismanagement. FG activates National Emergency Operations Center. Speaker of House of Representatives appeals to Nigerians to shelve the planned nationwide protest. On the foreign scene, satellite images show water infrastructure before and after strike in Rafah. Venezuelan police hits and detains protesters, use tear gas. And in sports, Kano Holdings donates jerseys to last month football teams. Details in a moment. Nigerian female music icon Miss Onyeka Onwenu is dead. Onwenu was aged 72. She died after slumming at a birthday party where she performed in honor of Mrs. Stella Okoli, founder of Emzo Pharmaceuticals, was celebrating her 80th birthday. Though emergency services were called in, Onwenu gave up the ghost at Reddington Hospital in Lagos, where she was rushed to after the incident. An eyewitness who was at the party said she slumped as she took a seat immediately after her performance. The doctors who attended to her have not given a reason for her sudden death. A source close to her who pleaded for anonymity said a heart attack is being suspected. Fondly called Elegant Stallion, Onyeka, who started her career in broadcasting in the early 80s, was a singer, songwriter, actress, human rights activist, journalist, politician, and former chief executive officer of a National Center for Women Development. Onwenu, an indigene of Aranzidiogo in Imo State, is an alumni of Wesley College, Massachusetts, where she bagged a BA in International Relations. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Dr. Tajuddin Abbas, has appealed to the planners of a nationwide protest, especially Nigerian youths, to shelve their action in the interest of the country and its citizens. In a statement signed by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Musa Krishi, Abbas noted the frustrations and reservations of Nigerian youth, but maintained that President Bola Tinubu is not relenting in its efforts to bring succor to Nigerians. Abbas said the government has initiated several policies and programs aimed at addressing the needs and aspirations of the populace, which include the introduction of student loans to ease the burden of educational expenses and ensure that no Nigerian youth is denied the opportunity to pursue his academic dreams due to financial constraints. Tinubu administration, has said, has also made significant strides in providing access to funds for young entrepreneurs through various schemes, such as the Customer Credit Scheme, designed to support innovation and enterprise. Stated that the House of Representatives is in the process of developing formal legislative mechanisms to ensure continuous engagement and dialogue with the youth and creating platforms for regular interaction to build consensus on the way forward. The Speaker therefore appealed to all Nigerians to shun violence and embrace dialogue, using all legitimate avenues to express their grievances and work together towards constructive solutions. The Abia State Governor, Alex Oti, has expressed fears that a planned nationwide protest may turn to violence which may consume the poor, weak and vulnerable people in the society. Oti who said this during a Tuesday morning broadcast to Abia people, appealed to traditional rulers, leaders of religious organizations, and other community leaders to advise the people against taking to violence. The governor advised Abia youths to exercise restraint and engage leaders with their demands, assuring them that his administration will do everything to protect the people from harm and destruction. He acknowledged that Nigerians have the right to demonstrate against bad conditions, but expressed concern that any good intentions of the original organizers of a national protest may be eroded if fifth columnists and hoodlums hijack the protest to cause mayhem. Governor Oti, who said that his administration has invested in infrastructure in Aba and Umuahia, noted that such infrastructure would be protected from being destroyed by those who may want to hijack the protests in the state to cause mayhem. The governor said that some economic policies of the federal government, including the removal of fuel subsidy, may not have yielded the desired results, but appealed to the youth to apply peaceful means of achieving their agitations than resorting to violence. The military and the police have commenced a massive nationwide deployment of soldiers and police personnel ahead of the August 1 End Bad Governance protest planned by some youths and civil society groups. Reports from across the country indicate security agencies, including the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, have put their personnel on red alert in anticipation of a proposed nationwide rally organized to draw the government's attention to the economic hardship faced by citizens. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, confirmed the troops' deployment but said there was nothing new about it, noting that soldiers have always been deployed across the country for counter-terrorism operations. Reports reveal intensified surveillance patrol by the Guards Brigade, Police, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, and other security agencies in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, on Tuesday. This comes just as some youths in Niger State took to the streets in protest on Monday, barely 1 week after Governor Mohammed Bago announced that the state's youth would not be part of a nationwide protest tagged End Bad Governance. The protesters, who appeared unwilling to wait till Thursday, chanted anti-government slogans and carried placards with inscriptions such as "Enough is enough," "Stop anti-masses policies," "We are not slaves in our country," "Hardship is unbearable," "Fuel subsidy must be back," among others. Also, there was slow vehicular movement at the Abuja Kefi and Abuja Lokoja roads caused by roadblocks set up by military and police personnel, while some residents of Kuba, Dutse, Alaji, Mararaba, and Buara reported noticing an unusual high number of security vehicles patrolling their areas. In ENUGU State, fully armed soldiers were stationed at the Akanu Ibiam International Airport and other strategic points, while military vehicles were spotted by our correspondents around the ENUGU Capital Territory Tuesday afternoon. Ahead of a planned nationwide protest against bad governance due to commence from August 1, the federal government has declared all its 256 custodial centers across the country as red zones, whose sanctity must not be violated under any guise. Controller General of Corrections, Hali Nababa, gave the warning in a statement issued on Tuesday in Abuja ahead of a planned national protest scheduled to hold from the first day of August 2024. Nababa warned that any person or group of persons who have no business whatsoever should steer clear from the vicinity of the custodial centers, which he said are critical national assets which are germane to public safety as well as national security. Tampering with or attacking them, he said, will lead to breakdown of law and order and further exacerbate the security of a society in general. Strongly advised members of the public to join hands with the service to ensure the protection of correctional facilities, saying that adequate security arrangements have been put in place to ensure that no correctional facility is defiled. The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria says it had instructed all airport managers across the country to assist passengers affected by the grounding of Arik Air. This is contained in a statement signed by the authority's Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Obiageli Ora, on Tuesday in Lagos. Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria said that it was putting measures in place to adequately assist the passengers, said that it will continue to ensure safety, security, and comfort of all air travelers in Nigeria. The Nigerian Airspace Management Authority, NAMA, earlier Tuesday ordered the grounding of Arik Air for an alleged failure to pay $2.5 million debt it owed Atlas Petroleum International Limited. NAMA said an enforcement department of a high court of the Federal Capital Territory enforced an order made by the court after the airline failed to auction its planes, which the court slated to hold on July 26. A member of the House of Representatives, Philip Agbese, is appealing to Nigerians to reconsider their stand on the proposed nationwide protest. Agbese, who is the deputy spokesman of the House, told newsmen in Abuja on Tuesday that President Bola Tinubu is determined to restore the people's confidence in his administration. He also said that the president would appoint competent hands to work with him and change the leadership of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to forestall the incessant crisis in the oil sector. The lawmaker maintained that the president has immense love for the country and would not hesitate to sack his appointees or those inherited from past administration if they fail to perform. He added that the president had given more appointments to young people than any other African leader in recent times, urging the youths not to participate in any protest as a mark of appreciation for his gesture. The Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) has ordered the immediate reactivation of cell phone lines barred by the telecommunication companies, saying it gave the directive by considering the challenges the blockages have caused many telecom subscribers. This is contained in a statement in Abuja on Monday by the Director of Public Affairs, NCC, Dr. Ruben Morka. Morka recalled that over the weekend, many telecom subscribers were unable to access their phone lines because of the inability to verify their national identification numbers, names with their subscriber identification module SIMs, which meant that their numbers were blocked by the telecom service providers, in keeping with laws and policies of an NIN and SIM linkage. According to him, the objectives of this exercise by the federal government include enhancing national security and ensuring the national SIM ownership database is accurate. He said the name SIM linkage policy aids verification and protection of users' identities and provides critical infrastructure that enables citizens to access the benefits of a digital economy. This action, he added, was being taken in view of a short time available for consumers to undertake the verification of their names with their SIMs. He reminded the deactivated customers that the reactivation for a limited period to allow them to properly link their name to their SIM. Yet members of the public who are yet to verify their SIMs to do so as soon as possible to maintain access to their lines. The ENUGU State Governor, Peter Mba, says the new focus of the state government on agriculture will cover the entire value chain beyond increased food production. Mba made a pledge when he granted audience to the National Project Coordinator of Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project, Sanusi Abubakar. Correspondent Chinemere Mikebunam reports that the project is a World Bank initiative designed to improve productivity, commercialization, and resilience of targeted livestock production system in Nigeria.
Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project, LPRES, is a 6-year project with development objectives to improve livestock productivity, resilience, and commercialization of selected value chains, and to strengthen the country's capacity to respond to an eligible crisis or emergency. The project is vital to Nigeria for poverty alleviation and economic sustainability. Receiving his guests at Government House, ENUGU, Governor Mba said the government's interest in the agricultural sector goes beyond increasing production and now encompasses food processing. He said the administration will focus on every area of agri value chain, including animal husbandry, and was ready to partner with any genuine investor in the livestock business to boost the production of meat for local consumption and for exports.
This is also coming at a time when we have also outlined an ambitious target for our agriculture sector. When we came in, we moved our agriculture ministry to what is today known as Ministry of Agriculture and Agro-Allied Industrialization. And that's largely because we see the value in strengthening our agriculture sector beyond just growing or increasing our production. We see the value in also processing, having value in all the value chain, creating those value and making sure that we capture them. And so that's why we're beyond the production, we're also interested in processing.
Mba said Enugu State has played social, economic, and political roles as the headquarters of the then South Province and is no doubt a key player as the regional headquarters of a national veterinary hospital. The national coordinator of ELPRES, Sanusi Abubakar, had outlined the organization's activities in alliance with the state government.
We are here for site inspection of a proposed veterinary hospital, regional veterinary hospital here in Enugu for the Southeast region, courtesy of ELPRES. We are here also to deliver anthrax vaccine on behalf of Federal Ministry of Agri and Food Security with support of ELPRES. And we are here also to see how we can align with His Excellency on the ranching he's talking, has recently signed into bill. We have a model that we call livestock value chain hub that we are working on. So we are trying to see how we can link those two. Then finally, we are here for technical mission to assess the state implementation and see how we can support the state.
ELPRES, a World Bank initiative, establishes enabling environments for livestock farmers and stakeholders, ensuring the delivery of quality and effective services. This is accomplished through the effective formulation and implementation of livestock policies. Chinemerem Ikebunam, Signature TV News.
Legislation that will drive the needed reforms in the agriculture sector and boost food production in the country. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Agricultural Production, Services and Rural Development, Saliu Mustafa, made his pledge on Tuesday in Lagos at a National Stakeholders Consultative Meeting on the 2025 agriculture budget. The senator said he had advocated over time for an increase in the agriculture budget and identified mechanization as a key factor to higher food production. Delivering a keynote address, Mustafa said stakeholders needed to intensify efforts at mechanization of farm processes to get the youth attracted and engaged in agriculture. Mustafa said the gesture would help to surmount the current food insecurity facing the country, insisting that agriculture remained the largest employer of labor, even though it had lost its pride of place as a mainstay of a nation's economy. The country director, Action Aid Nigeria, Mr. Andrew Mamedu, says the current rate of food inflation is worrisome and urgent action is required to address it. Mamedu expressed this view at a National Stakeholders Consultative Meeting at the 2025 agriculture budget on Tuesday in Lagos. He said recent data released by the National Bureau of Statistics in its Consumer Price Index report for June showed that food inflation in Nigeria surged to 40.87%, further intensifying the current food price crisis. Mamedu said the nation was currently experiencing the worst food inflation in decades, exacerbated by a weakening naira, significant post-harvest losses, insufficient domestic agricultural production, and heavy reliance on costly imported food. According to him, such investment includes enhancing extension services, access to credit, labor-saving technologies, irrigation inputs, post-harvest loss reduction, such as processing and storage facilities, training, and market access. Still to come, Education Minister mourns Professor Junadu. Jakande lecture, media practitioners x-ray how media can survive current changing landscape. These and more stories after this short break. The German Agency for International Cooperation has pledged technical support for micro, small and medium enterprises investments in Nigeria. Head of the agency program, Mr. Marcus Watskong, made a pledge at the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between the agency and the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC, on Tuesday in Abuja. Watskong said that the agency was ready to provide the NIPC with technical support in the areas of capacity building on investment, especially for small businesses and startups, among others, adding that the goal of the partnership was to build the capacities of partner states through development and standardization of state-based incentives, peer learning, and improvement of aftercare services. Watcom said that the support would aid NIPC in developing national strategies and policies, and also in the upscaling of inclusive business model in Nigeria. Executive Secretary, Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, Aisha Rimi, commended the German Agency for International Cooperation for its consistent support in improving the business climate at the national and subnational levels in Nigeria. Rimi said that the German agency had helped in facilitating improved agriculture value chains that strengthens income, employment and food security of smallholder farmers in Nigeria, which according to her is commendable. The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, has mourned the passing of Professor Ismail Junadu, Executive Secretary, Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council. This is contained in a condolence message made available to newsmen in Abuja on Tuesday by the Director of Press and Public Relations in the Ministry, Mrs. Falashade Boriowo. The Minister described Junadu as a visionary leader and champion of education, whose dedication and passion made a lasting impact on the sector. The Minister prayed for the repose of Junadu's soul and comfort for his loved ones during the difficult time. Junadu died in the early hours of July 25 in Damaturu, Yobe State, where he was attending a joint consultative committee on education program. Media entrepreneurs and practitioners on Tuesday expressed concern about the survival of the media in the current ever-changing landscape. They spoke at the just concluded Lateef Jakande Annual Memorial Lecture 2024, organized by the Nigerian Guild of Editors in Lagos on Tuesday, with the theme, Rapidly Changing Media Landscape, Media Survival Strategies. Speaking at the lecture, the chairman this day, Arise Media Group, Mr. Nduka Baigbena, called for a change in media law for media to survive in the current landscape, such as intellectual property will be regarded as an asset. Calling on media owners to be prepared for artificial intelligence, AI, the publisher said there was need for education and good governance for media to survive, highlighting that the world was now being driven by technologies and AI. Obaibena said that AI had also been promoting journalism and making the society a better place, hence media entrepreneurs are to benefit for its advantages. Also speaking, the managing director of a Punch, Joseph Adeleye, urged media practitioners not to be lost or trapped in the past noting that AI should not be a threat to journalism, but a tool that can be used positively to advance the course of a profession. Many eminent journalists, professionals, and media owners took turns to profile solutions and a way forward for the survival of media in an ever-changing landscape. Appreciating the Nigerian Guild of Editors on behalf of her family, Jakonde's first son, Deji, said that their father's name had always become a challenge to them, assuring that the children would not disappoint Nigerians. The 82 Division of the Nigerian Army has distributed relief materials to victims of an inter-communal clash between the Effium and Ezza communities in the Oku local government area of Ebonyi State. This gesture is aligned with the efforts of the military to build and enhance its relationship with the civilian population and give succor to the victims.
The relief materials include bags of rice, tomato paste, and vegetable oil, among others. The beneficiaries and town union presidents of both communities expressed gratitude to the military for the gesture, which they describe as the first of its kind.
I'm here to thank God for what is happening here.
I just give thanks to God for what happened today, because since 2021 we have not seen this. So, and I want to thank Commander of Cantonment, Nkwegu.
Chairman of Ohaoku local government area, Ikechukwu Odono, thanked the military for the visit and the accompanying palliatives. He assured the Effium and Ezza communities of the determination of the state government to restore permanent peace to the area.
I thought before now that it's only the politicians that do this kind of thing, but today I've seen that also the military too. So I want to thank you, to thank the Major General, the GOC, for this wonderful gift to the Ezza and Effium community. And I want to tell my people that the governor of Ebonyi State, our governor, Right Honorable Builder Francis Ogbonnamwefuro, is doing everything within his power to make sure that peace return in Effium.
The cantonment commander, Nkwegu, military cantonment Lieutenant Colonel Audu Bako, who represented the general officer commanding the 82 Division of the Nigerian Army, ENUGU, said the gesture is to cushion the effects of the crisis in the area.
We are in this community to ensure lasting peace. Go back there, tell everyone to embrace peace. If you have any issues, we are here through thick and thin, 24 hours. No one should take laws into his hands. If you are aggrieved, go to the constituted authority and lay your complaints. We don't want the issue of this person attacking one and the other will go for retaliation.
Lieutenant Colonel Bako maintained that the military remains neutral in the crisis and urged the two warring communities to embrace peace as the only way to guarantee development in the area. The relief materials include bags of rice, tomato paste, and vegetable.
Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has awarded a vigilant group in Kwali Area Council for rescuing 4 kidnapped victims. The reward included an operation vehicle and undisclosed cash gift to encourage the group to do more. The rescued victims were presented to Wike at Keita Gembo, a community in Kwali, on Tuesday when he visited the area to inspect an ongoing road project. The minister commended members of the vigilante group for the display of bravery and courage, stating that the operation vehicle and the undisclosed amount of cash gifted to them was to motivate them to do more in tackling insecurity in their communities. He urged residents of FCT to work with the FCT administration to ensure that criminal elements and their evil activities are eliminated in the territory. Wike explained that the railroad road projects across the 6 area councils of FCT were part of President Bola Tinubu's efforts towards boosting economic activities in the railroad areas, and urged the residents to support ongoing efforts by the current government to improve the livelihood of railroad dwellers rather than supporting the August 1 planned protest by selfish individuals. Commenting on the kidnap, Chairman, Kwali Area Council, Dan Ladichia, explained that they were abducted from their homes in Kuje Area Council before being taken into Kwari Forest by the kidnappers, and assured all vigilante groups in the Area Council of continued support to enable them to support security agencies in tackling the menace of kidnapping in communities. The approval given by President Bola Tinubu for the sale of crude oil to the Dangote Petroleum Refinery in Naira is going to force the prices of domestically refined petroleum products to crash. Oil marketers, refiners, and experts who bear their mind on the issue commended the move by the president, stating that it will boost the outputs of domestic refineries, shore up the country's foreign exchange reserves, and strengthen the Naira. They also hailed the media for always putting the matter on the front burner, stressing that Nigerian refineries should not continue to struggle to get the United States dollar to procure a commodity that is produced in the country. President Tinubu had on Monday directed the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to sell crude to the Dangote refinery and other upcoming refineries in Naira. Dangote refinery has been embroiled in a crude oil supply crisis with international oil companies operating in Nigeria. Later, it had some confrontations with the country's midstream and downstream regulator. The Special Advisor to the President on Revenue and Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Zach Adedeji, says the decision of the federal government on sale of crude in Naira will save the country an estimated $7.3 billion annually. Adedeji, while justifying why President Tinubu ordered the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to sell crude in Naira, noted that the decision would reduce foreign expenditure by roughly $660 million on a month-on-month basis. The FIRS boss stressed that a move by the president will cut down on Nigeria's heavy reliance on foreign exchange for crude oil imports, which accounts for roughly 30 to 40% of its forex expenditure. Recall that Tinubu, in a significant move on Monday, ordered NNPCL to sell crude to the Dangote refinery and other local refineries in Naira. The move comes amid the crude supply crisis Dangote refinery is grappling with in the oil and gas sector. Youths under the aegis of Akure Youth Forum have threatened to recall a member of the House of Representatives during Adesida APC Akure South, Akure North over alleged non-performance. The group, in a statement on Tuesday in Akure by its leader, James Adebowale, said the recall became necessary for the failed representation. The youth said that Adesida had failed to bring the dividends of democracy to the constituency, alleging that the lawmaker had failed to execute or embark on meaningful projects and to empower the youths and women in the area. They stated that some of the developmental projects embarked upon by the former lawmakers from the constituency did not receive the lawmakers' attention, noting that the construction of a new town hall initiated by former lawmaker Honorable Afe Oluwo Kekere has been abandoned. The youth said that it will mobilize people to sign a recall notice of a lawmaker if things remain unchanged in the next 30 days. Reacting to the allegations, legislative aide to the lawmaker, Femi Fasa, described the Akure Youth Forum as a faceless group, noting that the group was being sponsored by some politicians. 15 lawmakers under the aegis of Economic Rescue Group are calling on the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Mele Kyari, to resign, accusing him of being responsible for the woes being recorded by the administration of President Bola Tinubu. In a press statement signed in Abuja on Tuesday, the leader of the group, Esosa Iyawe, who represents a red federal constituency in the House, said that Kyari should be suspended pending the outcome of a joint investigation by the House Joint Committee on Petroleum, Downstream and Midstream. Lawmakers urged the president to wield the big stick as well as take a look at the presence of middlemen in trading, indiscriminate issuance of licenses, unavailability of laboratories to check adulterated products, and the influx of adulterated products into the country, among other infractions. They frowned at the endless shifting of timelines for the rehabilitation of refineries, nefarious activities at petrol depots, which have affected product distribution and caused scarcity, and the use of middlemen in trading, which has negatively affected domestic crude supply. Yahweh recently moved a motion in the Green Chamber calling on the federal government to suspend the CEO of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, Farouk Ahmed, pending investigation into his remark about quality of petroleum products at Dangote Refinery. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on Tuesday continued the interrogation of a chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Malam Jalab Arabi, over alleged mismanagement of 2024 Hajj Exercise Fund. Arabi was at the office of the Anti-Graft Agency to answer questions on how the Commission spent the 90 billion subsidy for the exercise. Signature TV learned that there were petitions against the chairman and the Commission and management over alleged funds mismanagement, especially during the 2024 Hajj exercise, for which 3 directors from the Commission have been invited to explain what they know about the issue. When contacted, the spokesman for EFCC, Dele Oyewale, promised to revert to our correspondent over their invitation and other details, which was yet to do as at the time of filing this report. Arabi, at a news briefing on Monday, gave the breakdown of how the Commission spent the 90 billion subsidy, where he said that each pyramid was supported with 1,637,369 naira from the 90 billion, except for pilgrims under the Hajj Savings Scheme, who enjoyed more. The federal government has activated the National Emergency Operations Center to coordinate responses and provide timely support to victims of floods and public health concerns. The Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, Zubaida Umar, disclosed this at the National Emergency Coordination Forum held on Tuesday in Abuja. The forum brought together stakeholders to review the current flood situation and strengthen mitigation and response strategies across Nigeria. Speaking at the event, Zubaida said the center would share information, provide timely support to affected areas, collate to analyze flood incident data, and ensure that emergency responses were as accurate as possible, while expressing hope that the step, together with those of other stakeholders, would reduce to the barest minimum the impact of flooding. She highlighted the agency's ongoing efforts to address the predicted 2024 flood disaster by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency (NIMET) and the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency (NISA). On his part, Mr. Tron Jensen, head of the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Nigeria, commended NEMA for its leadership in disaster preparedness and emphasized the importance of efficient resource use and anticipatory action to address cholera outbreaks, with urgent collaboration among all stakeholders to enhance emergency response capabilities. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, says the federal government is determined to increase modern contraceptive prevalence rate, MCPR, to meet the Family Planning 2030 commitment target of 27%. Pate made the government's stance known at a one-day family planning stakeholders accountability meeting organized by the Association for the Advancement of Family Planning in Abuja, represented by Dr. Binyarin Okairi. The Director of Family Health, Federal Ministry of Health, Pate said that the meeting was part of the FP 2030 Accountability Framework piloted in Nigeria project. He noted the role of family planning in achieving universal health coverage and reducing maternal and child mortality, stressing the need to ensure access to FP products and services to women of reproductive age. He also reiterated government's commitment towards improving healthcare services, particularly at the sub-national level, and databases of family planning service delivery for decision-making. The Special Advisor to the President on Senate Matters, Senator Bashir Lado, says the prompt signing of a minimum wage bill into law demonstrates President Bola Tinubu's love for Nigerian workers. Lado, who made this known in a statement in Abuja, added that the signing of the bill further demonstrated that the president was a man of his words. He said the president has also ensured that there is a provision in the Minimum Wage Act which now makes it mandatory to review the national minimum wage every 3 years, as against 5 years in the Amendment Act. This, he said, shows that workers' take-home pay will continue to take them home under the present administration, saying that the president deserves the commendation of all for staying true to his promise. Lado also commended Nigerian workers for their resilience and contribution to nation building over the years and urged them to put in more effort in the delivery of effective services for the growth and development of the nation. A few hours after the Imo State Police Commissioner Aboki Danjuma held a crucial stakeholders meeting, yet to have identified gunmen have killed 4 police officers and 1 female point-of-sale operator. The police commissioner, who confirmed the incident, ordered the command's tactical unit to go all out in collaboration with other sister agencies to hunt down the hoodlums responsible for the attack. The incident occurred on Monday along the Owerri-Onitsha Expressway, where the operators were on routine patrol at Irete were ambushed by the attackers. In a press statement issued by the spokesperson of the command, Henry Okoye, it disclosed that the 4 officers were killed during a gun battle between the police and the attackers. It said a police commissioner, on receipt of the report, immediately mobilized to the scene for an on-the-spot assessment for the ugly incident, where the lifeless bodies of the deceased were evacuated and deposited at a mortuary for preservation, while the injured victim was rushed to a nearby hospital where he is currently responding to treatment. The release further disclosed that the police commissioner expressed sadness over the unfortunate incident and vowed that the command would leave no stone unturned in ensuring that the perpetrators were all arrested and brought to justice. Satellite images show water infrastructure before and after strike in Rafah. Venezuelan police hits and detains protesters use tear gas. These and more stories after this short break. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq stumbled to close lower on Tuesday, July 30th, weighed down by weak chip and mega cap shares ahead of earnings from heavyweight tech companies this week. But the Dow managed modest gains. Microsoft, seen by many as leading the artificial intelligence race, fell ahead of its quarterly results due after the closing bell. Chip maker Nvidia, regarded as a prime beneficiary of potential AI growth, and the year's second-best S&P 500 performer, tumbled, weighing on other chip stocks and the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index. Other mega-cap names such as Apple, Amazon.com, and Meta Platforms were all due to report earnings this week. Amazon and Meta shares fell, while Apple managed a slight gain on growing concerns that the stocks might be overvalued. Among single stocks, Procter & Gamble tumbled almost 6% after missing fourth quarter sales expectations. The S&P 500 lost 27.10 points, or 0.50%, to end at 5,436.44 points, while Nasdaq Composite lost 222.79 points, or 1.28% to 17,147.42. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 203.40 points, or 0.50%, to 40,743.33. Satellite images provided by Master Technologies show water infrastructure before and after strike in Rafah. Gaza City has lost nearly all its water production capacity, with 88% of its water wells and 100% of its desalination plants damaged or destroyed, Oxfam said in a recent report. Salama Shurab, head of the water networks at Khan Yunis municipality, said the wells were destroyed by Israeli forces between July 18 to 27 in the southern towns of Rafah and Khan Yunis. Israeli military did not respond to the allegations that his soldiers had touched the wells. Palestinians were already facing a severe water crisis as well as shortages of food, fuel and medicine before the destruction of the wells, which has deepened the anguish brought on by the Gaza war, now in its 10th month. The war started on October 7 when Hamas, a Palestinian military group ruling Gaza, killed 1,200 people in Israel, according to Israeli tallies, and took another 250 or so to hold as hostages in Gaza, one of the most crowded places on earth. Israel's retaliatory offensive has killed more than 39,000 people and bombed much of Gaza, where functioning hospitals are scarce into rubble, Gaza health authorities say. Police detained about a dozen young opposition supporters after participating in a demonstration in Caracas on Tuesday, July 30. Reuters video shows an officer kicking an individual before taking a group away into motorcycles and vans. Police also fired tear gas at civilians. The demonstrators were leaving a rally where opposition leader Maria Corina Machado asked her supporters not to engage in any violent acts, even if they were attacked by government allies. Protesters took to streets throughout Venezuela on Tuesday, waving flags and demanding President Nicolas Maduro acknowledge he lost Sunday's July 28 election to an opposition that says they clinched a landslide victory. Canadian officials reported on Tuesday, July 30, that the outlook for the country's wildfires has improved as temperatures cool the rainfalls on affected areas. Nearly a third of Jasper's structures were destroyed when massive wildfire, with flames burning 100 meters high, hit the popular Alberta tourist town last week. All fires in the town are now extinguished, but blazes continue to burn throughout Jasper National Park, and there's still no timeline for when residents can return home. Kanu Holdings donates jerseys to LASMA football teams. This is more sports stories after the break. Tuesday in Lagos donated jerseys to the male and female football teams of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority. The general manager of LASMA, Olalekan Bakiroki, said this in a statement signed by Director of Public Affairs and Enlightenment Department of LASMA, Taufik Adebayo. Bakiroki said the donation was aimed at supporting the team's participation in various sporting activities and expressed gratitude to Kanu Holdings for their generous donation. Manager Kanu Holdings, Parik Joel, in a statement, highlighted the importance of sports and fostering teamwork, discipline and healthy lifestyle, noting that Kanu Holdings is a diversified conglomerate with interest in various sectors, including real estate, manufacturing and sports development. That's the news. Barik Mado is my name. Thank you very much for watching.
Very unfortunately today, most of the ills that brought the military into governance, like tribalism, corruption, indiscriminate killings, and ethnic rivalry, are returning in full force. Has the country learned any lessons from the past?
It is a matter of regret for some of us in politics that from 1999 to now, to date, lessons, important lessons supposed to have been learned are not learned. Democracy, if it's mismanaged, it becomes civilian dictatorship. A faulty democracy, another name for it is civilian dictatorship. Democracy, you either do it properly or you are going to end up with a dictatorship. The separation of the powers has not worked. Judiciary, executive, and the legislature, it has not worked at all up till now. And once it's not working, then there'll be dictatorship somewhere along the way. And this is why the governors in their own states, they became unaccountable, because the state assembly, which is constitutionally to check them, have failed to check them, or they can't check them because of the usual compromise.
Rwanda was made up like this. The people saw it coming. Ethnic, religious warfare. Nobody there to stop it. Chaos finally coming in, dovetailing into anarchy. We saw Bosnia-Herzegovina. We saw the former USSR, United Soviet Socialist Republic. People say, oh no, it can't break up. Today, how many countries came out of USSR? Even Sudan here, less than 4 or 5 years ago, broke up into Southern Sudan and Sudan. Nigeria almost broke up between 1967 and 1970. It took one who has said he was going to carry out a bicycle expedition against the Biafrans from the Nsukka axis. 3 years to know that you can know when a war starts, but you may never know when it will end and the consequences. Little droplets of water build up oceans. You cannot treat eczema, you cannot treat leprosy with the medicine meant for eczema. It will not cure it.
We have seen a continued depletion of the human freedoms and liberties that democracy promised us in 1999. And the quality of leadership in the country has also continued to diminish, leading to the point today where the levels of the things we fought against are beginning to increase. The ethnicity issues, and don't mind the talk about fight of corruption, a lot of that remains. Citizens have not seen a realization of the promises made. Citizens feel cheated by the political leaders.
I don't think we're addressing our issues with the kind of maturity that is required. Yes, there's no question at all that some of the things that are happening are totally undesirable. For example, human life. It is irreplaceable. One human life is one price too expensive to pay.
That politics is about making our community better, not about making myself rich. I don't know whether Nigerian politicians really understand that. It is intolerable to have a country where a few people are very rich and don't know what to do with their money, are buying useless jets and parking them in airports at thousands of naira or dollars every day, while people are dying of hunger or in dying of preventable disease. The dignity of the human person means wherever, if you live in a country and there are human beings that are living below human dignity, it is a shame on me and on all of us.
For a nation that seeks a respectable place among the community of progressive countries, there must be a resolve to address these challenges.
I think that in another less than 10 years, the political coast is going to be so clear now that sooner than later, politics of ideas will begin to emerge.
Attitude is very, very important. So we must, as a country and as a people, if we want to make progress, change our attitude to politics, government, religion, ethnicity, and business. The other thing is that no country, no race, no ethnic group, whatever, can progress and prosper without some kind of moral or ethical code of conduct.
It will be tragic if we do have an undemocratic system of government come in this country. And I don't know if the country will survive that. My hope is that the political system will be able to function in such a way that the elections will help determine the choice of political leaders. The electoral process has to be able to filter out politicians that are not delivering. And citizens should be able to vote in candidates who represent their aspirations. And those candidates must understand that they need to respond to citizens' expectations.
The elite are the ones creating these issues. The ordinary Nigerian, strangely enough, seems to be wiser than us, seems to be more stable than us. We are provoking them every day. But they have now started to realize the power that they have. Even they realize that some of these problems cannot be solved.
From AIT Studios in Abuja, Nigeria, this is the O&M Sunday Show with Obiora Ilo and Mamode Akuga.
Hello there and welcome to your show. It is the O&M Sunday Show. I am Obiora Ilo. Mamode is not around today. But doing a lot of things that will help make sure we have a better program next week. Well, there's so much happening around the world, around the country, developments everywhere. But today we are going to be a little selfish because we are going to turn a blind eye to most of these developments and focus on someone who has been described as a cultural icon. She's a singer, an actress, but before that, she was a journalist and broadcaster. At a point, she became a politician and at other times, administrator. She was a former chairman of the Imo State Arts and Culture Council. Yes, that was it. And very recently, she was the CEO of the Women Development Center. I didn't get that quite right, but we'll get to know all about her in a moment. I'm talking about the one that has been called the Elegant Stallion, Onyeka Onwenu. I'm sure our cameras, she's already here in the studio, so our cameras will have her. And in a moment, she'll be joining me to talk about some of her travails in her most recent job. And when we do that, we'll move from this serious corner and go to the sofa, where we'll talk about that beautiful side of her that a lot of us will remember, her career in music, and what the future holds for this great, multi-talented Nigerian. So don't go away. Today we are talking about Onyeka Onwenu. And when we return, Onyeka will be joining me here in the studio. Don't go away.
Onye bu nwannem mayo mama mayo onye bu nwannem and he's holy, but oh how he loves me. This my God, I wanna praise his name. He is wonderful, yes. He is beautiful, yes. He's so lovely, he loves me so tenderly. This my God, forever the same. Onye bụ nwanne m, mayo mama, mayo. Onye bụ nwanne m, mayo mama, mayo. Jesus bụ nwanne m, mayo mama, mayo. Mmadụ n'iru, mayo mama, mayo. Mmadụ n'azụ, mayo yo yo, mayo yo yo, mayo mayo yo, mayo mama, mayo. When the enemy comes in like a flood, hey, my God, he raises a banner over me, and it's love. His love protects me, and he guides me. He covers me, and he hides me under the shadow of his wings.
What she knows best how to do. And she's joining me right away, Onyeka Onwenu. It's our pleasure to have her in our studio.
How are you?
You're welcome.
Thank you. Where should I sit?
Please.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And still looking radiant, still looking, oh my God. You know, the first time I ever saw you was in the early 80s. You just joined the Anambra State Broadcasting Service.
Yes,
you were one of the
ATV.
newscasters
Yes,
then.
yes.
So a pretty long time. And
Very long time.
You changed, but not quite. So what's the secret?
God. Just God and His grace.
Okay, so when you, I mean, I'm sure when you go out, when you're driving, when you go to the airport, everybody's like, Onyeka, how do you feel? Of course, I know you're used to it now. After
I am, but I don't take it for granted. I'm honored, and I thank God for it. Sometimes it does get in the way, but you grin and bear it, because to be so honored, it's a marvelous thing, and you should be grateful for it.
Okay, you know, we'll start our conversation here, and then we'll move over to where we call the sofa, because we're going to, you know, you've become someone with so many departments. You know. So, but, you know, in the last couple of days, you've been in the news. Some say for the right reasons, some say for the wrong reasons. Of course, like the rest of Nigerians, we woke up, we heard the federal government had asked chief executives of
26
parastatals to leave.
Yes.
And that in your own establishment, which is the National Center for Women Development, what we heard was that you resisted going like the others. Some went to the ridiculous extent of saying you had said you sued Mr. President, and you know, back and forth, and then you had your you had your own rebuttal and all that. But here you are.
Yes.
Would you kindly tell us what exactly happened?
All right. We all got the news, and to be honest, I was relieved. It's been two and a half years almost of hard work in the midst of great challenges. No money to work with, and you still have to achieve. But we thank God for all that we were able to achieve. I received the news with gratitude to God. I briefed the management. I was even the one that was consoling people and saying, oh, look, it's not the end of life, and life continues, and I will always, if you ever need me for anything, you know, that kind of thing. And we started preparing the handover notes, and then a lot of noise started filtering through to the office, and we found out that some people had gathered outside, and they had
Was it on the day you got information, or the
No,
next
no,
day?
the day I was handing over, the next day. They had seized my car keys, the key to my official car, which was to take me home. And we asked why. They said, some people said the union. I said, but what's the problem? I never even got a petition written, not one written against me. So what's going on? Maybe I can address the issue. The people started now saying, you need to call the police. And it was a gentleman who is a member of the House from Katsina who actually got so concerned that he called the police. And what was it? That some people had vowed they were going to disgrace me. It originated from the person that became, who was the acting DG when I took over. And we had a lot of issues with him. He works there, his wife works there, his brother-in-law works there. A lot of things were going wrong. We moved him from the estate department because overnight, 3 of our generators were cannibalized. Oh, this kind of sabotage was going on. In any case, he vowed to disgrace me out of office. I was going to walk away peacefully and go home. We managed the situation. Ultimately, about 10 policemen, armed policemen, had to come. And some of the management staff now saw me down to the car. And they were booing, they were calling me names. The
management staff?
They saw me to the car. And the people that had gathered outside, and even along the corridor, we could see some people who were waiting along the corridor for me. For what purpose? I don't know. Some of them were disengaged staff, because some agencies normally send us staff, and then they go. Some of them were outsiders. I couldn't recognize who they were. In any case, we were managing this situation, and I got into the car, and I was going to go home quietly and thank God that, look, this is over. Except that journalists kept calling me and said, oh, we hear you're going to sue Mr. President. We hear you refuse to hand over. Why would I refuse to hand over? There are 26 of us who were disengaged. I mean, I've been there for 2 years and 5 months. I've done my best. And everybody could acknowledge that what we did within that period of time was so much. I mean, how did we do it? We don't know. So why would I want to sue Mr. President? He has the authority to hire and to fire. So what is it? Now I had to now put out my own story, because the names that were being called, Ndi Igbo, were being insulted. I was being insulted as an Igbo woman who had come to a place that didn't belong to me. All kinds of things were being thrown at me, and spitting and banging on the car that they are going to do me in. I would have still left it, but then I had to answer these press statements. And by the way, members of the press had been invited, not by me, but by the people who organized this fiasco. The reason that it is good to speak out is, it's not the first thing this sort of thing has happened at the center. But people keep quiet. And because we all keep quiet, it keeps happening. And I said, I am proud to be an Igbo woman, as you or anyone else should be proud to be where God put them. I respect everybody and love everybody, but I don't need to be abused because I'm an Igbo woman. That's all. And some people are taking that to mean that I don't like people from different parts of... No, that's not my life. It never has been. I am a proud Igbo woman and a proud Nigerian, and I have served this country. I love this country. Come to think of it, I'm not married to an Igbo man. I'm married a Yoruba Muslim. My children bear Muslim names. How can I hate Yorubas or hate Muslims or hate Ndi Hausa or Ndi Fulani or whoever? I love everybody. This country should be for all of us. When you see something wrong, please say so. Don't try to cover it, because it's Onyeko Nwenu today, tomorrow it will be somebody else.
Okay, before that Tuesday and before the disengagement, were you having issues with members of your staff?
There is no way.
Or like this particular man that you have talked about. Was there any
If you know what the center looked like before I went in there, you would understand that you would have issues. The place was a mess. It was rotten. The guest house had water seeping into the walls. Fire had got at the place. They hadn't renovated it. In fact, you would not put your house help in there. The same with the hostel, the same with the auditorium, the same with the training arts and craft building. A lot of things had gone. Nobody remembered the National Center for Women Development anymore. Nigerian women were not getting their money's worth because these were the women that donated money to have this place built. I mean, the center was down. And within 6 months, when I got there, less than 6 months, things began to turn around. So obviously, there are people who want to maintain the status quo, and you've come. First of all, you, this musician, was the first thing I got. And you, this Igbo woman, you know. And me, I'm a hard worker. If you give me a job to do, I am going to do it well. If I'm unable to, I will give you back your job and go home. And I thought that the issues were so important. I mean, it's about Nigerian women. It's about their development. It's about carrying them along. It's about them having a better life. And I was going to give it my best, and I did. Obviously, there are some people who would not like it, but then there'll be many people who liked it.
Okay, because while all this happened, you know, we are talking to a couple of people, and some of the people on the other side, they've accused you of high-handedness in running the affairs of the National Center for Women Development. They said you didn't carry them along. I don't know how true that was. That
could be if you are insisting that people come to work on time. That could make you high-handed. That could be if you frown at people taking 6 months and staying at home and getting their salary. That could be if people leave for work, come in, go out, if people don't do their work. How do you run a place when people don't show up for work? That's not high-handedness. That is trying to give the Nigerian people their worth. And that's what I tried to do. Not carry them along. I probably had more management meetings than anybody else. And people on the management staff would tell you, I never took one decision by myself. I was able to carry them all along, and also the general staff. Imagine that for every DG there would be petitions this high. But for Onyeka Onwenu, not one single petition was written. And the staff loved the changes I was bringing there because their welfare was number one. But you will always have trouble.
Are you paying salaries?
No, I don't pay salaries. The government pays them directly. But the people that we pay are the people, the cleaners. And I used to, at the time when we couldn't pay them, I would pay them with my own salary. My own salary comes and I distribute it amongst the cleaners. Because we were owing them for 3 months, no money, 4 months, no money. How can we do that? Go and ask. I used to distribute my own salary for the cleaners. That's how passionate I was about the center.
Okay, when this happened, of course, your, in quotes, opponents said that you exaggerated this name-calling, the Igbo woman and all that you were just looking for a way to play the ethnic card. Did you ever have issues like that before this disengagement? I don't have to exaggerate because they brought in the press. And there's a Guardian reporter that Miriam Nembe is her name. And I wish that she would stand up wherever she is if she's hearing this and acknowledge. There were other, I believe I heard they brought channels and they refused to show the footage. Whoever was there, please speak up because it was bad. It was very bad. And yes, we've had things like this happen. At a point, I had to call a town meeting because we got word that there was a fatwa, that they said I was moving away all northerners. And I called a town meeting and said, how could anyone say that? I'm not allowed to hire, haven't hired anyone. Moving away, doing what with them? I don't care if you're my mother, if I'm having to work with you and you're not performing, in order to get things done, I will move you to another department and bring somebody who can perform. I mean, it was within my authority to do that. And I did that for good reasons on the occasions that I had to do that. If I didn't apply myself to the job, the achievements which Nigerians can attest to that took place in the National Center for Women Development, please go there now and check. Those achievements would not have happened.
I apply myself to whatever job you give me. I take it seriously. I don't play favorites. I don't have time for that. In fact, I'm harder on you if you are close to me. I am harder on you because you should know better not to disgrace me. So anyone that didn't perform, whether you're Igbo, whether you're whatever, Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Efik, whatever, I just took the decisions that I had to take. But I found it really sad, and this cuts across the board, not just at the National Center for Women Development. Nigerians, in the civil service, there's a lot of slack. People don't come to work. People don't come to work on time. People don't want to do anything. They just go around. You see them standing in groups. I stopped all that. It doesn't matter whether you're Igbo. It doesn't matter whether you're Yoruba, Hausa, Fulani, Ibiram. Anywhere you are a Nigerian. If you've been hired to do a job, you're being paid for it, please do that job.
Do you think that being a woman contributed to the challenges you had?
But of course. Because many of them, you would ask them to do something, they look you up and down. Like, who is this woman telling me to do something? They had that attitude. And you forget that you're working at the National Center for Women Development. It's not for men's development. Go build your own and go work there. And I am the DG. I happen to be a woman. I'm sitting on this seat. I am going to do my job.
But now that we're talking about it, when you are CEO and you don't pay salaries of your workers.
No, the government pays directly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Does it not affect your control?
No, it doesn't. Why should it? You get paid by government. You are working for government.
So whether they do the job or not, who determines whether the job was well done?
Well, I'm overseeing the job. So I will, together with management staff, I will determine whether the job is done or not. And I never fired anybody. It wasn't, I mean, I don't have the right to fire anybody. I didn't have the right to hire anybody.
But you could discipline.
Yes, well, how do you discipline? You write a query and say, please explain why you have been away from work for 3 months, or why you consistently come to work at 11 o'clock and leave by 3 o'clock. How does the government get its money's worth if this is what workers are doing? Please tell me. Okay,
well, before we talk about, I mean, because for a lot of Nigerians, there's some distraction when you're talking about Onyeka Onwenu. You know, there's so much other things to talk
Absolutely.
about. So we're going to take a break in a while,
yes,
and then move over to the soft side and talk about your music, your career, and all that. But I have just one more question to ask.
Yes.
If you're asked to do another government job, with all that has happened, would you accept it?
I was raised to be a person of integrity and hard work. It was all the example I saw before me. My father died by the time I was 4.5. My mother was 36. I'm the last. The least anyone has in my family is a master's degree. This woman raised us to be hardworking. My father died 2 weeks before he was to be made the Minister for Education for Nigeria. He was the first R&D man in the Federal House. That's my background. The Principal Secretary of Igbo State Union, working with ZCOB, that's my father. So I know nothing else but to apply myself. So anywhere God sends me is where I go. I did not lobby for this job. I couldn't even remember the National Center for Women Development, what it looked like. And I went and studied it. I said, oh, okay, God. And I prayed. And everything I had been doing before then actually prepared me for this job. And I thank God for his grace. I'm happy leaving. What we achieved there is monumental. And nobody can take that away from Nigerian women. It is theirs. So if he provides another opportunity without fear, I will go and I will do what God has called me to do. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
My life rests with him.
Okay, we'll take a break. And when we return in the sofa, we'll get to know more about Onyeka Onwenu. Don't go away.
Before you dream. love me, you go wait for me. My dear friend, life is there for your front. Take your time, oh, make you no spoil 'em. If you make children, are you ready to care? If you love life, you go plan well. You dey hear me, sir? If you love me, you go wait for me. Having babies, no be joke. Oh. You go feed them, you go give them clothes, give them love too. If you never ready to carry the load, oh, why put down for another person head? Plenty children they say, na insurance for old age. Papa said make we marry, Mama said make we born. Oh, plenty children there. But no food to eat, oh, my friend. This kind of life, is so wahala. If you love me, you will wait for me. Happy parents, make happy children. Happy family, that's my happy country. Make you plan well, enjoy your life, oh. If you love me, you go plan with me. If you love me, you go wait for me. Wait for me, baby, plan with me. Wait for me, baby, plan with me. To let me grow. Wait for me, baby, plan with me. Wait for me, baby, plan
Nobody will actually forget this song because I remember the build up to that song. I think it was a PR gimmick. There were stories about, oh, Nneka is dating Sonny. Nneka is dating Sonny. Sonny is dating, oh,
We even have a daughter.
you know, there was, but we didn't know they were planting all those stories at that time.
No, we did not.
You didn't? So, but it was a song that made quite an impact. Yes, you know, it was the era of Planned Parenthood, yes, Planned Families, and yes, all that. Yes. And you've done a lot of collabos, you know. Yes.
I started collabo with King Sunny Ade. The first one was Mada Alone in the 90s. That was the first time two Nigerian artists had come together, and that was on my album. And then he called me and said, look, there are these songs that we need to write about family planning. And then we did two more. So altogether we did 3 before anybody else started doing all that.
Okay, Nneka, let's go back. You know, I said I met you, I think you just came back from the United States. About that time, and then you were a newscaster and all that. Did you always prepare yourself for journalism, for music, for acting? You know,
I have a Bachelor of Arts degree in Communications and International Relations from Wellesley College, and did my master's in Media Studies. So I wanted to be a journalist. But I also knew that I would go into singing. In fact, my mother, who was a renowned songwriter, she wrote Ochie Dike, and an actress too. She was just incredible. She kept saying to me, don't forget your music. But in my family, you have to get your education first before, if you want to be a street sweeper, after that, help yourself. So after my education, I knew that I wasn't just going to be a journalist, that I was going to do anything else that I wanted. And of course, starting with music, I released my first album, and the rest, as they say, is history.
It's history.
Then came acting as well. Then came politics, which I never thought I was going to go into. But even though my father was a politician. I never thought. I just decided after people kept coming to me and I was putting many people through school, helping many families, I realized as an individual I couldn't do more, and I wanted to do more. And I thought, let me vie for local government chairmanship. If I can help my people at that level, I'll be very satisfied. But of course, the proverbial level playing ground was never provided. In fact, there were no elections actually held. It was, you know, appointment this and that and that. And I didn't get in. And I had gone back to Lagos and was facing my music before the call to come and serve at the national level came. And through this service, I've been working as I do my shows. I've been doing my shows. It's very difficult to leave. And I've been doing songs. I'm sure AIT has been showing Not Alone, which was the song I wrote for advocacy for the IDPs. It's something that is very close to my heart. In fact, at the National Center for Women Development in December, we trained 50 IDP women. We took on 22 of their children, kept them for 2 weeks, dealt with their medical issues, gave them, working with UNHCR, gave them money, gave them equipment. Many of them, my brother, have set up businesses in Borno. We have a woman who's running a restaurant there and employing other people. They are hairdressers, they are sewing clothes. I mean, to just see how lives can be changed, that's what gives me pleasure. That's what gives me fulfillment. And you can use music as a great tool for advocacy. And it's a joy to be part of it.
You know, a lot of young people, you know, when they see Onyeka Onwenu distinguished, fulfilled, you know, known everywhere.
I want to tell people that I'm sweating because the studio is hot. So I'm not going to hide AIT anymore.
Well, a little hiccup.
Okay.
But we apologize.
All right. I'm okay.
For that.
Just so they know.
You promised me you were not going to do that.
I didn't promise.
Okay, so, you know, they see you and they're in a hurry.
Yeah.
You know, they want to get to where Onyeka is today without working for it. And here you are telling us you lost your father at the age of 4.5.
Yeah.
How was it? What sustained you and your family? And what sustained you as a little girl who was fatherless at that early age, and a father who played a prominent role, provided almost everything, and suddenly he was no more?
My father was my soulmate. I was his favorite, and he never apologized for that. I mean, I was treated, I think he spoiled me, to be honest. But then my mother, and I thank God, she's late now, she died at 93. Uche Dike, they don't make them that way anymore. Uche Dike was a marvelous human being, strong woman, who took her children and her family, because she kept the extended family. After my father died, she didn't send her, my father took on nieces and nephews, anyone. My mother did not send any one of them away. And she raised all of us. And she took us and put us inside Christ. That's the strength that I have. I don't think that you come to this world just for nothing. I think each and every single one of us, we have our sphere of influence. You have yours, you're doing it right now. I have mine. And it's to look at that, the gift that you have been given, and say, how do I use this to make my environment a better place? And that's what my mother taught me. As a little girl, 3 years old, she would take me to sing for motherless babies' homes. And I remember that they would put me on the table and she would stand beside me, and she would have taught me my own part in the song. We used to do these wonderful duets. And that was how I grew up.
You mean you started singing at 3?
Oh, yes, I did.
Did your father hear you sing?
I don't recall. He was a very busy man. But as soon as he got home, it was games. We had games that we played and that nobody else knew. And today, you know, people who know us will call me the names that he used to call me. And I used to get a shilling a day. This was 1956. A shilling was a lot of money. But that was my allowance.
Every day?
Every day.
But mom did not allow you to spend it. Of course.
Never mind mom. All the neighborhood children, my own siblings, everybody would surround and we will all spend the money. Yes.
And you managed That was a lot of money, really.
That was a lot of money. That was a lot of money.
So you started singing at 3?
Yes.
And how did you keep it? How did you checkmate yourself that you waited for so many years before you exploded? I mean, if you love singing from 3, how could anyone have told you, oh, look, Onyeka, you can't sing until you come home with a degree?
No, I kept singing in school. Every school I attended, I was singing, but I wasn't doing it professionally. In my family, education was so important. You couldn't be the daughter or son of DK Onwenu and not go to school. I mean, it's just unheard of. My father was an educationist. He was the principal of Enitonia High School. Before then, Baptist High School in Port Harcourt. And he went to Furabe when it was very difficult to get into a university. And then Durham University, and then coming back to serve his people. So how could the daughter of DK Onwenu not go to school? It would be a shame and it would be a dishonor to my father's name. So that was important. And I loved going to school. I loved acquiring knowledge. I haven't stopped. I keep acquiring knowledge every day. The day you stop, you're finished and it's time to pack it up. But you should keep learning, even from younger people, even from people who are not in your so-called class, have a lot to teach you. There is something called the University of Life. And I love old people. I like to sit with them. Some of my best friends are older women, much older than I am. And they are very good friends. And we will sit and we will gist and we will compare notes and I will learn so much. I also have the younger people and I'm learning so much from them. I have 2 guys in the house they teach me about being young because I had to learn how to operate the computer because they made so much fun of me that I said, look, I'm not having these jokes anymore. So I had to do the right thing. So life is a continuous process of learning, of giving and taking. And no matter what situation you have gone through, count it all good because all things work together for good. Even this last one, I've learned something from it. I've impacted also many people who were close to me and worked with me, have learned a lot from me and I from them. It's all good.
Okay, we'll take a break and
for the sweat.
When we return, Onyeka talked about the guys at home. We need to get to know more about them. Don't go away.
Kama enyene dem kwa kanda basibom mboko no mi enyene dem kwa kanda basibom mboko no mi sai mboko no mi momi yene mfo kama enyene abasiyo kono kansiyo mboko no mi enyene dem kwa kanda basibom mboko no mi sai.
I'm grateful, Daddy. I'm grateful. Makifeni na melonunua. I'm grateful. Magalumu na matego say sometimes. I'm grateful. Oh nye dikaye papa. I'm grateful. Oh no mame. I'm grateful, Daddy. Oh so grateful. Oh so makifeni na melonunua. I'm grateful. Sometimes I'm grateful. Oh yeah, I'm grateful. Mo dúpẹ́ o, mo wá ṣọpẹ́ o. Mo dúpẹ́ o, f'oore tí bàbá ṣe. Ó fún mi láyọ̀, ó tún ṣẹ́gun fún mi. Òṣùpá rere o, bàbá mo wá dúpẹ́ o. Mo dúpẹ́ o.
In any language, in any way you want to, just say thank you to this great God of ours, merciful and kind and sweet and loving to his children. The Yorubas would say, Eshe Jesu, Edo, Osanobwa, Obilu. Ndị Igbo daalụ Chineke imela, Hausa na-agote Yesu. Urobo ogene wakobio, Abasi sesongo, that's Efe. And Zulu would say Siabonga. Even the French would say merci.
I think that this song, Praise, was also in your collaboration tradition, because, you know, we kept seeing a lot of people.
You brought a lot of young people in to teach them about the art of using your talent for other people, for God, for the community, for society.
I remember the 100-year song that you did.
The centenary song.
Yeah, the centenary song.
That's an incredible.
Yes, I like the classical
just an incredible
background.
Song, just an incredible song.
Who wrote the song?
I did.
Including the instrumentation, the arrangement?
No, it's the producer that does the arrangement for
that was great.
Beautiful. Wale Oni is just an incredible producer. But when I say I wrote it, I really am claiming something that God did, because I write in a peculiar way. I pray and I download from God. I know people will find it hard to believe until they actually see me in action. That's how I write songs. The songs come. And I quickly have to record it as it comes, because if I don't, I will forget it. The same thing with Not Alone. The producer has to say, no, bring a mic, or please just record whatever she's singing. And after that, I have to go back and listen to it and now fill it up and learn the song myself. That's just how it happens.
Okay, just before we took the break, you know, I went to an area you'd like to protest. You protested.
Yes, I did.
And you know, a lot of Nigerians, a lot of them love you though. But some criticize you because they say you've built this giant wall around you and your family.
I'm just a private person.
They hardly know anything about your
I'm
family.
a private person.
They know
something's bad.
They know you have kids, but they're never going to talk about it.
No, my kids are very independent. First of all, we don't answer the same name. They answer their father's name. Me, I answer my father's name. But they even don't like you to know, because they want you to recognize them for what they bring to the table. Then after that, you can know that Onyekun, they don't like to use the name to get things. No, they want to work for it. And I don't know how they got this marvelous idea, but I'm loving it, because they are going out and striving and making efforts on their own and not saying, oh, I'm Onyekun son, do this for me, do that for me. I absolutely agree with them and I love them.
But why don't you like talking about their father?
When you meet me after this program, I will talk to you. Meet me one-on-one, and I will tell you all about it. But, you know, I don't want to be assessed, or rather, I want my work to speak for me. I don't want to be categorized because of who I'm married to or not married to, or whether I'm married or not married. No. I am Onyeka.
Some people think it has
Adamazi. Adamazi.
Some people think it has to do with women liberation.
No. It's just, call it women's lib. I don't like to deny or confirm. Call it anything you want. But please, I want to be judged for what I do as a person, not whether I am married or who I'm married to. And, you know, everybody likes their privacy. So I just don't want, is she married or is she not? I am just me doing my work, number one.
But again, no matter how much we complain about it, you've turned out to be one of the few Nigerian superstars who got married, kept their marriage, kept their family.
I'm not even going to go there.
How did it work?
So change
the
subject.
How did it work?
You are cornering it from another way. Who said I'm married? Who said I'm not married? He's trying to corner it another way.
Okay, well, I won't push it. I won't push it. But have you found love? Did you find love?
Obviously, for me to have these two boys, I would have had.
Okay, so you have played a lot of, you know, you've made a lot of effort mentoring younger musicians, both men and women. What informed you know, this determination that you must work with the young ones?
Why not? To encourage them, to lend a helping hand. There's no musician who has called on me who is serious that I haven't equally reached out to, shared my own experiences, given advice, and given a little bit of a helping hand. That's something I do passionately, because the young shall grow. And it's what God enables you to do, to deposit something in someone else and not just hold the knowledge to yourself. How do you help society that way? There was a question you asked me earlier about young people thinking that you just jump in. And what I didn't share with you, and I share with those that I mentor, is the fact that my father having died, my mother was 36 when she lost her husband. I was 4.5. And my mother struggled and did everything that she could. When I got to the US to go to school, sometimes I had 3 jobs doing it in order to help looking after myself. And I worked as a dishwasher in an old people's home, in hospitals, in restaurants. You work as a babysitter, you work as a sales girl while going to school. I had a scholarship from Wellesley College for my BA, but I bought my own clothes, looked after myself during the summer, bought my own books. For my master's, I didn't have a scholarship. I paid my way. I was working then at the United Nations and going to the New School for Social Research in New York in the evenings. And I had other jobs at the side to help myself. I didn't find it demeaning that I was washing dishes. Don't look at Onyeko and think she suddenly arrived. I didn't think, oh, my father was such and such, my mother, and here I am. No, I just stayed focused, and that's one thing God has given me the grace to be able to do. You can be doing anything around me. That's where I want to go. That's what I want to achieve. That's precisely what I'm going to do. So that helped me.
You keep your eye on the ball.
On the ball.
All the time.
All the time. And that helped me growing up. So you now see me and you think, oh, she's made it, she's this and that and that.
And it was such a smooth road.
No, it was not.
There was so many narrow paths.
Oh my goodness. But I thank God for loving me and protecting me, because there are so many other ways you could have gone, but He kept me really, really focused. So I'd like to share this with young people and say, don't look at today and what you're going through. That's not your life. Learn whatever lessons you need to learn, and that would help you to grow into whom God has made you to be. Just remain focused.
Okay, I would apologize, but I have to ask this question.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say you are a snob, you are arrogant, and is that true? Or are there things you do that will make people, you know, have that kind of impression?
I'm actually a very shy person and really quite boring. I'm the sort of person, I go to work, I go home. That's how I know to keep myself out of trouble. I don't party, I don't hang around and say, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. No, that's not my life. I wasn't raised like that. So and I was raised to have confidence in myself and in the God who made me, to respect myself and respect other people, love myself and love other people. Really, if you don't love yourself, you wouldn't know how to love somebody else. Mm-hmm. So I carry myself with a bit of dignity and integrity. So people may see that as being a snob, but you should see me in the village, you know, breaking kernel. You know, I'm like my father. My father will sit with the old women and cut oranges and treat everybody's wound and that sort of thing. That's me. I work in the garden. I'm boring at home. In fact, when you're talking about Onyeko, my children look at me. That's our mom. Is this one that we see all the time? I said, Mom, why are people always raving about you? I said, no, you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't understand.
Just leave it. No, I'm not a snob. I'm not. Far from it. Just self-respecting, that's all.
Okay, you worked out how you would survive in this very unfamiliar world, yes. And people may assume it's the other way. I think it happens. Yeah. Looking forward, you know, if anybody's talking about music today in Nigeria, they will talk about you.
Hey, that's good.
What do we have to take out I mean, some people have said we have to take out the erotic scenes we see today in videos, the nakedness,
it's too much,
the nudity.
And it's always the women doing the nakedness, and I wish the men could do the nakedness and the nudity. So let us all see them too.
It will be balanced.
It will balance. But it's the women.
So what should we add? What should we do, you know, to move? I mean, it's become a big industry. Showbiz in Nigeria.
It's become pornographic at this point. It is becoming pornographic. And I think organizations like DSTV, Mnet should really watch it. It's become pornographic. How do you put on the TV just innocently in your house with children around? You know, I used to say to my brother, close your eyes, close it. They make a joke of it. Close your eyes, because I couldn't run fast enough to go and turn that thing off. And I'm thinking that, hey, we're having a nice program. And I like to watch TV. I like to watch what they're watching. And suddenly you see all this. I go, close your eyes, close your eyes. Mom is coming, close your eyes, close your eyes. I shouldn't have to do that. That is very bad. And I think that we have to look into it as a society, because the impression, the image, what it's creating in the minds of young people is that everything is all about sex, 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 nudity, nudity, you know, sell your body. And we're seeing the results: trafficking, prostitution, drugs, all that. It's all tied in together. It's tied to pornography that you're seeing on TV.
So we should take it out.
We should take it out. Or lessen it a little bit.
Are you going full blast now, back to entertainment? You were there while you were doing what you were doing.
I never left it. Hello.
247.
I really would like to do more. You know, my last effort in movies was Half of a Yellow Sun.
Yes.
That was a meaty role. I absolutely enjoyed it.
Beautiful film.
I'd like to have more roles like that, but they don't come around every day. But there are many things.
Is it because of the pay? The pay is not good enough?
The pay wasn't even that good. I did it from the passion of my heart. The story was just wonderful. You know, it's time for Nigeria. Let's try doing things about our history. Let's teach our history to younger people. Let's not put things away. Don't deal with it until it springs up and bites you in the face. Let's talk. Let's open up. This happened, that happened. Let's teach the children. Because having witnessed the Civil War, I don't think I want to go through that again. I don't think I even wish it
on anyone,
to go through that again. People that are agitating now, let's listen to them. There's a reason they're agitating. I don't really believe that they want to go to war. But let's listen to them. If someone has a grievance, allow them to air those grievances. Let's treat each other with respect and honor. Let's accept ourselves for who we are. We are equal partners in this country. If we begin to deal with each other in that way, there will not be another war. Nigeria would be a better place. This is a wonderful country that God has blessed us with.
Well, we'll take it home. Let's listen to those that are shouting. They want to be heard. And that way we can avoid another war. Thank you, Onyeka, for coming on our show. I don't know how to thank you with all the inconvenience and all that. But I have this little gift, something you can put on your table.
I love coffee in the morning.
Yes, and use it for coffee from time to time.
And I'll be thinking of your show. Thank you.
Yes.
And the sweating that I was making.
It will happen again. I'm sure you'll be back. When you have a new
broadcast, these things happen.
It happens once in a while. And that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, I enjoyed spending this 1 hour with the elegant stallion, Onyeka Onwenu. I am Obiora Ilo from Abuja in Nigeria. Let's do it again Tuesday night. Thanks for watching.
NNPC Limited or NNPC as it stands, I don't know if it's fully represented the interest of Nigerians. So should I be talking about a windfall today or a windfall? Because when people talk about the inflations, talk about inflation and high cost of things, they point us to the US, they point to the UK, the Western world. But what they are not adding is the welfare in those states. There are people that still get check in the mail till today in the UK that do not have jobs. The young people in Nigeria that are not employed don't enjoy that. So we should be comparing ourselves with all economies like the Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Iran, even Iraq, and the rest of them. They are smiling to the bank. I think that's what we need today. Because now we have NNPC Limited. That is a limited liability. So it should be run properly. It's no longer a corporation of government. So ordinarily, if we allow the private hands to run it, the decisions will now be strictly commercial. If we do that, we will save ourselves from the mistakes of the past. Because if I have a stake in NNPC, my thinking is not how to employ my brother or how to take a product to a certain place to benefit certain people, because it's strictly commercial. But when you talk about privatizing NNPC, Nigerians don't see, most Nigerians, their minds go to the ones that didn't work, NEPA. But what about the telecommunication? That one worked. I can give you an example of even Eco Hotel. You know, then I think it's even Koi Hotel also. I think it's now Southern Sun. You know, there are so many that worked well and they provide the service. It's not so much money, it's not the money you make from it. It's the future. It's like saying, give out an asset. Give it out, don't make any money from it. But the tax, if you're able to get that asset to work and properly managed, the tax they will pay to the country, you make a lot of money from it. The service it will provide, the people you employ. Yeah, you know. So most times people are looking at, you are selling an asset for this amount of money, is actually worth this amount of money. But you can sell an asset for so much and that will be the end. So that's what I'm saying. If you give it out, just give it out, don't make a dime on it. Maybe the word is concession. You know, but let's say we are not the concession. You say, okay, take is a dash. Manage it well. Those things that you benefit, the tax to pay going forward, because it's not properly managed. The number of people that were employed that will also pay tax, and the service that will be rendered to the public. If it's a hotel, I need a hall, it's properly managed. Rather than moving events to South Africa or neighboring countries, the events will hold here. People will supply drinks, supply food. You know, that will be ushers and all that. All that brings money into the economy. I still think part of the plans going forward is to privatize NNPC Limited. Because in the course of the PIB that now became PIA, we had mentioned, look at Saudi Aramco. They sold only, is it 5% shares? And look at, they became the biggest company in the world as at that time. You know, and if you remember, the then Minister of State Petroleum, Ibe Kachuku, had said in 2017 that they were going to go public. He started having problems after making that statement. You know, the biggest problem NNPC has is the government. Now you say it's NNPC Limited. Can you tell me that the group CEO can make decisions without recourse to Asoro Villa? And unfortunately now, the president is the Minister of Petroleum. Because if it's truly limited, if it's a limited liability company, you don't have to be running to the president to make decisions. You make decisions in the best interest of the company. But that's not the case today. We have to stop seeing NNPC as our common patrimony. That must stop. It should be a business venture that should be properly managed for the benefit of the whole country. So that is why ordinarily I will support the outright sale. Because there are so many other places where we can make money as a nation. And this idea of coming cap in hand to beg for money from the federal should stop. That's why some of us are strongly in support of true federalism or devolution of power. There is no part of this country that is not blessed, you know. But it's just proper management. So for once, the governors need to sit on their butt in their states and manage their states well.
Good morning. Welcome to this beautiful day. It's Wednesday, the 31st day in the month of July, 2024. Welcome to the Signature Mornings. As always, it's going to be a beautiful day, and I hope it is beautiful out there too. Charles is my name. You're welcome.
And I'm Chomalina John.
So Nigerians are waking up to a very, very sad news. The death of Onyeka Onwenu. He has, when I received that news, it was quite shocking. So many things ran through my head. I thought about her music. I thought about the circumstances surrounding her death. I mean, she just went for a gathering, even performed at the gathering. And while she walked over to sit down, she slumped and passed. Apparently, she didn't pass at the time she was sitting down, but she was rushed to the Reddington Hospital in Lagos. At the hospital, that was where she was confirmed dead. She was aged 72. 72, it's a long time, to spend on earth. But then again, you never know when death comes. Something I always say is that whatever you do on earth, make sure that you create things that would outlive you. If there's one thing that I know, Onyeka Onwenu will never be forgotten because her songs are evergreen.
It's been, it's actually heart-wrenching of some sort, waking up this morning to realize that, one of Nigeria's legend, in her kind, in her space, has moved on to another world. It's something we're just trying to get over. And just yesterday we talked about, was it yesterday for yesterday, Ifeanyi Uba's death, and Iwayan before that. It's just in procession. I don't know how this is happening, but hey, it's upon us, like I always say. And we believe that those of them that, her family members will have the fortitude to bear the loss. And Nigerians at large, like my child said, she cannot be forgotten. Her music resonates in our head forever. It's still Signature Morning. If you're in New York watching us from New York, it's past 3 a.m. where you are. Here in Nigeria, it's past 8 a.m. And we're diving in straight. We have a whole lot lined up today. It's wanted to be gloomy, but hey, cheer up. It's another day. He said it's 31st of July, 2024. You can never have another 31st of July in 2024. So maximize, make the utmost use of it. Remember I said yesterday, kindness is one of the things that defines a great soul. So be great today.
All right, we're headed for a short break. When we return, we'll get onto the front pages this morning. Do stay with us.
Good morning once again. It's still the Signature Morning on Signature TV. I always want to remind you, don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles at Signature TV on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And on YouTube, we are at Signature TV. Just go and subscribe. We are always live. Right now, we are diving straight into the newspaper headlines. And we're starting first with the Nigerian Tribune. And we have federal government declares prisons red zone.
Okay, it has a rider. IGP advises against streets processions, holds virtual meeting with Falana, Adeboruwa, others. Court restricts protesters to Freedom Park, Peace Park in Lagos. Soldiers, police, DSS, others in show of force in Ibadan. Handle protest with caution to avoid repetition of NSARS. Anglican primate tells security forces. Niger Delta stakeholders distance region from plan. Protests have diminished our country, says Kenyan bishop.
2 policemen killed as kidnappers invade church, abduct former commissioner in Delta.
Arik Air kicks as Kenyamo orders grounding of fleets. That's on page 3 of the Tribune.
And on page 8, yes, court dismisses Otom's suit against Benue government.
Jokonde Memorial Lecture, How Media Can Survive Current Change in Landscape. Media chiefs speak.
Nation's crude oil daily production of 1.6 million barrels to hit 2 million by December, NMPCL. That's on page 7.
On the Business Times this morning, global commerce going through troubling times, says DGWTO. Says future of trade lay in services, digitalization and green economy.
Why federal government palliatives will not address food inflation, Greek experts.
MFB deposits surge by 168% as assets value hits 2.79 trillion naira.
FG pledges to promote farmers' soil health card. FG pledges to promote farmers' soil health card scheme.
On page 2 of the Business Times, agri experts speak why federal government's palliatives will not address food inflation.
And urgent action needed to address food inflation.
All right, on the Daily Times newspaper this morning, just above the masts, Interpol launches silver notices against money laundering. That's on page 16 of the Daily Times.
Stalemate as organizers reject IGP's no street procession offer. On page 2 with the rider, thugs threaten Lagos protesters as court confines demonstrations to parks. Nigerian Correctional Service declares custodial centers red zones.
Former Delta commissioner kidnapped inside church. Police orderly shot dead, others injured.
CSO's kick. Petition NJC over indiscriminate release of detained kidnappers.
Shelve your action in Nigeria's interest. Speaker appeals to protests planners.
And moving over to the Punch. On hardship protest. Security agencies occupy Abuja venue as Inspector General IG organizers disagree. Soldier with rider, soldier, police in show of force nationwide. Court restrict Lagos protests to 2 venues.
All right. Fuel crisis may end as vessels berth in Lagos. That's on page 28.
Yeah, and I guess we'll move on to Daily Trust. Organizers meet IGP, insist on street protest with the rider. Federal government declares custodial centers and red zone. Tinubu needs support to actualize policies. Shetima. That's Daily Trust.
Over to the This Day newspaper. Above the mast, Senate Tinubu's lifeline to Dangote refinery on crude supply by NNPC will strengthen Naira.
Obagbene advocates law to protect intellectual property in Nigeria media and creative industries.
Over to the Nation newspaper. Above the mast, Customs suspends import duties on essential food items.
And something funny, okay, on one of the pages in The Nation, court restricts protesters to freedom. Peace parks in Lagos, with the rider judge orders police to protect protesters. Bishop don't follow Kenya routes.
Anyways, I'm sure that this is part of the ways that they are trying to just contain what they feel that may happen on the 1st through to the 10th. The NSAS campaign wasn't this elaborate before the protest started. It was just immediate, like abrupt. It just started. So I'm wondering, this type of protest that has been,
the organizational level, the plans in place. I guess when we get to the review, we'll do justice to that.
Absolutely.
Yes, and still on The Nation, brace for more floods. NEMA warns Nigerians. That's on page 25.
80,000 apply for 110 billion naira youth investment fund within 72 hours.
Okay, on 26, INEC ready with a dual voter list.
Look at this. EFCC grills Nakon boss over 90 billion naira Hajj fund.
When you want to reboot hope that has been down, you need a bit of time, and we are on the right step. All the avenues of engagement and dialogue should be explored before a nationwide protest. Tunji Ojo.
Tunji Ojo. That name sounds familiar. Isn't that the same guy who they accused of using his company to, get some contracts within the same governments? I'm wondering, what right does he really have to speak about protest hardship? I mean, we're talking to the tune of, I think, around 500 million.
Yes.
So.
Anyway, moving over to the Daily Independent. And on the Daily Independent, organizers IGP Egbetokun disagree on confined protests. Protesters ask IGP for details of officers to protect them. Court restrict protests in Lagos to Freedom Peace Parks. Hoodlums threaten to deal with protesters in Lagos. Why would hoodlums?
Well, I mean, there's so many sides to this particular protest, so many sides to it. I've seen people threaten security officers that if they ever try to do anything to protesters, they were going to go after the security officer. I've also seen people say a lot of things. Security officers also say the same thing, more like threatening the protesters. At some point, we heard the IGP say there shouldn't be protests. The FCT minister says the Abuja is not even available for protesters. Then later on, you start hearing, oh, well, people can protest, but they should be restricted to this thing. IGP came back and said, you know what, there's curfew. As soon as it's 4:30, 5 o'clock, go back home. So there's this somersault of thoughts coming up from the federal government. It's never been coordinated, really.
The reviewer yesterday, that's Mr. Chris Maduka, said it seemed like the government is talking from both sides of their mouths. One time they're saying protest, another time. Now it seems from speculations now have it that those of them that might want to attack protesters or officers, police guys who have been assigned to protect protesters, are people that have been sent to sabotage the protest. And hoodlums are now coming out to say, yes, we are going to be after you. So those hoodlums, are they not Nigerians?
There's a post I saw on social media. It says some people are protesting against the planned protests. And so you wonder, I mean, who are those protesting against the planned protests? Asari Dokubo only yesterday said that the South, the Niger Delta region is not available for protest. That if you have the right to protest, that he himself has the right to resist protest. It's the first time I'm hearing that. Because, I mean, according to the Constitution, what we have is a right to peaceful protest. But I don't think it includes the right to basically resist protest. So I'm just wondering what he meant by that. I just hope that it doesn't, dovetail into chaos in the Niger Delta.
And still on the Daily Independent, Federal government declares custodial centers red zones, warns protesters not to go close.
Tinubu, Uzodinma, Abiodun, Oni seek unity of southern monarchs.
Rep Speaker asks protesters to shelve action in nation's interest.
All right. ACF says, that's Iowa Consultative Forum on the page 7 says why we can't join planned nationwide protests.
And on the Vanguard, protests. Organizers list convergence points for rallies. Falana, Adebolana, MBA to lead meeting with IGP. IGP orders DIG, AIG, CPs to provide protection for protesters. Court restricts protests in Lagos to Freedom Peace Parks. We have a thinking not bad government presidency. Federal government declares prisons red zones, warns against attempted violations. Banks others ask workers to be vigilant as ASSBIFI expresses concerns. Hashtag NSAS horror must not recut. Anglican primate begs security agencies respond properly to Nigerians' demands. Catholic bishop tells Tinubu, with a whole lot of others. LP Lagos patriot pull out of protest.
All right, still on the Vanguard, federal government hands over 400 CNG kits to transporters in 4 states. Still on the Vanguard, federal government suspends duty on rice, flour, other essential food items.
And on page 9, learn from Kenya's bitter experience, Bishop warns.
So a certain bishop in Kenya is warning Nigerians that, look, Kenya is now not peaceful because it's a daily protest. And online, I followed the conversation on Twitter, specifically on Twitter. President Ruto is practically doing spaces every single day just to talk to the youth and calm them down. And this hasn't actually yielded any result. I'm not sure how much of that is yielding result, but they've been asking him questions. He has been responding to them. Certain moves that he's been also making have been actually from that particular space. If you go online now, you would see him. He's hosting a space on Twitter. And I personally think that's exactly what the government should be doing. Like maybe the president himself hosting a space, listening to the people of Nigeria, their plight, what they're facing. At least let there be a semblance of, listening person who we have elected as president. But that hasn't happened. I mean, we see a lot of people making speeches. Governors will say something different. The minister will say something different. Another minister will come and say totally different. Just very huge discordant tones that we're hearing from the government.
Charles, it does seem like we're in a world of protest. Because even just yesterday, they were protesting in Venezuela against fraud, election fraud. And there were tear gas all over. People were running helter-skelter. It was not a good sight, So this issue of protest, it's something, I think people generally are aggrieved and don't like the outcome of what some leaders or what government is giving them. I know that it might be difficult to please people, but sometimes there is a way to strike a balance. I always want to say, let's leave it for the review.
Right. For Venezuela, it was 51% to 49%. And they said that he actually rigged that election. And guess what? The president ran away from the palace. Like, you can't see that crowd headed towards you and stay in the palace. He ran away. He's nowhere to be found right now. So that is the power of the people, especially when they unite.
Or you feel the world is coming to an end? You never could tell.
You never can tell.
So still on our newspaper review, I think the last one we're taking for today is from the Vanguard. It says that Nigeria's Bonny Light price drops to $79 per barrel, lowest in 7 weeks.
Indeed. Let's head over to the review of the headlines on our front pages this morning. Chris Maduka joins us. Good morning. Good to have you. Thank you. On the last day in the month of July.
Yes.
2024. We are grateful to God. We thank God for a day that is bright and early. Just that the sad news of the demise of Onyeka Onwenu, the Nigerian crooner, followed her as a young person from the first day Sonny Okosun launched her on a Nigerian Television Authority with her first album to this day and what she has tried to do. She's somebody who has moved higher from her art of music to being also humanitarian and caring about the welfare of her people. We'll miss her. And like I said, this is death too many for southeastern Nigeria, and we ask God, please have mercy upon us. And we pray for the peaceful repose of the soul of Onyeka Onwenu. Onyeka, my sister, may the angels of heaven sing you to sleep. We'll miss you.
Amen.
That is, as I said, that's how the cookie crumbles. And like my mom will always say, whenever there's a death, somebody dies, the person who even is mourning the dead is a dead person. It's just a matter of time. Now, go to, you have so much in your basket. I don't know where we want us to start.
So much.
Can we actually start with this organizers, this protest, and the fact that hoodlums are actually there to fight protesters, or like say, what's it called, the officers.
Thank you. It started
and there are people who are also protesting
against
the protest.
You have right. That's why it's constitutional. That you have right to protest. Yeah. And now, if hoodlums, you are looking, as I said, the organizers of hunger and hardship. Initially, there was this propaganda that they are faceless, and they came out and gave you your demands, asking you for police protection, and you want to circle them to Peace Freedom Square, or whatever kind of square. When these people do not trust you, when they assembled with Nigerian flag at a toll gate in Lagos, and they didn't move beyond that point, singing national anthem, Nigerian army were deployed to shoot at them, young, blooded Nigerians, the light of the nation, and they died. And the thing is that this time they told you that they want to protest again. You say, come, let's cocoon you into a corner, and you protest there. So what kind of protest is that? So if I beat you and you want to cry and I not give you the tone, no, Choma, if you want to cry, and I've beaten you, so if you want to cry, don't cry, just cry, and dictating even how you want to cry. So why the venue? What we're thinking now is to provide, if they've given you their route, provide security on those routes, and then sure, let there be agreement. If you have released your route, let there be no defaulting of what you have released. Look through it very well so that you enable us to provide security for you.
Mr. Chris,
that would have been, let me show. And then somebody is warning the protesters, they call themselves hoodlums. If the government of Lagos State said they don't know who hoodlums are, and let me tell you the history of Lagos State, the government of Lagos State subsequently, from the days of Tinubu as governor of Lagos, deal with hoodlums, they are liars. That has become an institution in Lagos. Because if you are in the street of Lagos, these liars have constituted themselves into an institution. These are the people who, when they talk, everybody will start catching cold. So when they have come now, the government is pretending and keeping quiet. Why has government not counted and warned them? That the hoodlums are warning the protesters. Let me tell you, when there's an elder in the house and allow goats to deliver on the ropes, that is any elder that pretends he doesn't know how to dig the ground, it's total you're telling lies to yourself, and they will ricochet back to everybody. Everybody will pay for it. That is thing that are running around cheating. Is at this time we expect transparency Let them be very transparent in dealing with this issue. Because you are free to join. They've not even gone around and said everybody must join. The organizers said they are just leading. They've just told Nigerians where things are hard. If they come out, fine. If they don't come out, fine. But for the government to be talking from talking, and even the hoodlums are joined. Who are these hoodlums? They are government sponsored, and I beat my chest to say it. To come out in the newspaper, and some the newspaper took their report and addressed the nation that are warning the protesters, and they address them as hoodlums. I think the madman has taken over their side.
I want you to help us narrow this expand sheet on it. You know, people protesting against the protesters, because what we understand, the protest is against hardship and hunger. Yeah. Now, those people protesting against hunger, that means they are not hungry and they don't
That's
have...
the logic. That's the logic. But only time will tell. You can't beat your chest and say all Nigerians are suffering hardship. Some people are benefiting from the situation. You can't say that if you are remotely related to anybody in Nigerian government, whether at the state, even at the local government level, that you are suffering. Because you are living an average life. And Nigerians have lived average life as when you have middle class, as people who are well-to-do over time. Why it became an issue, an emergency, is that successively the middle class who hold the fabric of this nation were destroyed totally. If you are not here, you are here. So there's no middle ground. And that's why we have hardship. People are crying. And then it's going to continue for some time. That's what I'm telling you. So I still see discordant tunes. People are being paid. We have seen viral video of people throwing rice. Somebody described it as 2 cups of rice wrapped and they're throwing in the street, causing traffic. Some people line up, viral video, where people line up and are collecting 5,000, not to protest. So, at least, I said, even if this is what the protest achieved, some people have used this pressure to get something. This 5,000 naira wouldn't have come. The people throwing rice in the street wouldn't have come. The promise of bringing a bag of rice from 80,000, 90,000 to 40,000 naira wouldn't have come. The president declaring that he's cutting down his salary by 50% and he's shelving the office of the first lady, and so many other things wouldn't have come. The people at the high level of National Assembly wouldn't have reduced their salary by half for 6 months. Even if these things are not concrete and can hold, just like every Nigerian does not trust all these things, then they are making statements. Because what I hate in Nigeria before now is that Nigerian politicians look at the Nigerians eyeball to eyeball, and tell them lies. They don't even think, creative lies. So they're not doing anything for us. If you care about Nigerians, you even think about lies you tell them. But Nigerians do not. Let me give an instance. Is this the same country that the government looked at the eyes of Nigerians and said, the helicopter carrying the vice president crashed because the previous government used it for 16 years without servicing it. We went home and dry. This is the same country. I don't want to talk about present lies because nobody will say I'm criticizing anybody. But we keep telling the uncreative lies. So meaning our politicians are not even working. Because if you sleep and say, what do I tell these people? That's enough work. You think about the lies. But you wake up after bouts of whiskey and hot drinks. Wake up in the morning tipsy and you just face anywhere and talk anything. Hardship and hunger protest is telling us that time of holiday is over.
How much of the influence of the NSAS campaign or NSAS protests is influencing this particular protest?
That's why the organizers are not taking anything for granted. They're not even taking any promise. You don't promise them and cocoon them to a corner. The last time they didn't go to a corner, they were marching the streets on their own. People attacked them. It blew into another thing and they were shot and killed. As we are talking now, It was only last few weeks ago they said they are paying 2 million naira to some people. What happened to those ones who were shot, died, and were killed, and nobody knows? What happened to some of them that are still in prison? Have they released them? I was looking at a viral video of Sani addressing even the president when he said, "We all learned about protest from you, Mr. President." So if you know what the best you do, make sure that all those who protested during the EndSARS that are still in prison, please release them. It's what you taught us, because you are father of all protests. And he mentioned many times in Nigeria where our present president has led protests. So this is his own turn. The way he handled it. And all the time he protested, nobody shot at him. Nobody put the police to go and pour hot water or tear gas on them. They occupied the street as the last one I can remember. And they were speaking in tongues. All these big men were talking in tongues. They turned into carnivals that lasted weeks and occupied. Nobody, not a single. In fact, policemen protected the areas where they are. And then somebody said, "You do not decorate fight."
The protest.
When I blow you, tell me this is where I blow you in the face, blow me back in the face. No.
The protest starts tomorrow. What states would you say are hot-spot states, especially as it concerns
I am not
protest?
part of protesters.
No, as someone
I'm
who
not part of
has-
organizers.
No.
Lagos, Abuja. And of course, the security, when the world, the security is preparing for Lagos and Abuja, and probably Kaduna River, Port Harcourt. You know, these are where they've been hotspot for politicians who have occupied our space over time. So, if you do, if you're like a man, I gave you a proverb who gave a full blow, you pay for full when it comes. You know, somebody, you know, was engaged in a fight. He gave a blow to somebody and the eye, got, you know, and he gave the man a blind eye. Went back, sit down, drinking beer, and told his friend when they are drinking beer that I gave that man one blow. In a few minutes, the police arrived. So his friend said, "Thank God the police are here. So follow them and go and pay for you. One blow at the police station." So the hotspot know themselves. And they're the ones who they've not occupied Abuja, even from one spot, Port Harcourt, River State to Abuja. There are the vocal ones who are occupied our space talking and dancing. It's with you, it's with us, you know, sweet, all those kind of things. This is the time. They should be able to face the people. The ones that are saying hoodlums are in Lagos are addressing protesters. Well, let the allies come. But as my people say, when you see what is more valuable than the bomb, you go and sell your farmland.
Right. We would have to leave it there.
Well, we have to.
Mr. Chris
No,
Maduka,
we have
it's
to
always
because-
a fantastic time with you. I mean, it never really stops. But again, we'll keep engaging on these issues. And then, of course, with the view to finding out some of the endpoints to the issues. We're also going to be following this particular protest and bring you up to speed on what's going on around the country. So stay on this channel. We'll be back after this. Just stay with us.
That's it.
Welcome back. You're watching Signature TV. This is Signature Morning, and it's on from 8 to 11 a.m. every single weekday. Today we are going to be talking about the livestock ministry and of course some other initiative that has been created by the government of Nigeria as it pertains to livestock productivity and resilient support project. And we have with us via Zoom Sanusi Abubakar. He's a national project coordinator of the livestock productivity and resilient support project. Good to have you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and nice to meet you, to join you this morning.
Okay, Mr. Sanusi, just give us an overview of what this particular project is all about.
Okay, thank you very much. Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project, short form is LPRES. It's a World Bank project that is aimed at improving productivity, commercialization, and resilience of livestock value chain generally. It's a livestock, it's a World Bank project, as I said earlier. It's in 20 states in Nigeria, and ENUGU is one of the states that we are operating. So that's the short aspect of LPRES.
What's the criteria for choosing the state that is involved with the first project?
Okay, thank you very much. We have some commitment and readiness criteria which the states have to fulfill for it to be in the project. And ENUGU have done that already since last year, and they have their disbursement, and they have kicked off the implementation in earnest, and with the commitment of His Excellency, the State Governor, and the support, the project is on the right track, and implementation is ongoing.
Okay, so would there be a world-class veterinary hospital set up in place as well?
Yes, we came into ENUGU last 2 days for site inspection and also to flag off the building of a model veterinary hospital in ENUGU, that is the regional for the southeast, because ENUGU is one of the states we are operating. And this hospital, once completed, it will serve the livestock farmers through ambulatory services, through disease diagnosis, and a whole lot of veterinary services. And it will have state-of-art facility training for our veterinary students and paravets, veterinary professionals generally. And most importantly, this model hospital will serve as an avenue to link our private veterinarians and the public veterinarians to work together for the benefit of the livestock farmer.
Okay, there is the issue of hunger in the nation. Now, is this livestock project, are they collaborating with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, in what way, and is there a plan to end hunger as well?
Yes, Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project is a project under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture.
For this, so that it doesn't die like any other project that dies on arrival. What is the long-term plan for this project?
Excellent. So that's why we have this sustainability component in our project. We know the project is ending 2028. So we try whatever project we are doing, we collaborate with the state actors, state government, and those that are very important in the project to see that the sustainability component is carried along. We work with the relevant departments at the ministry, for instance, Department of Veterinary Service, Department of Animal Husbandry, to align with the policies and activities they are doing, so that at least we will have a sustainable project. Even after this project, we want the activities to continue. That's the sustainability aspect of it.
All right. Recently, the federal government created the livestock ministry. I understand it will be a ministry on its own. Is it for you a welcome development? Because a whole lot of persons have condemned it because it's under the Ministry of Agriculture. How good is this ministry? Do you think it would achieve any goal as to helping with what we're facing with farmers' headers clashes?
Yeah, for us in the livestock sector, it's a welcome development. And if I say livestock sector, generally, people just look at maybe one angle of livestock. Livestock is a very huge investment, the value chain of dairy, beef, poultry, a whole lot of investment. And I think we have not tapped in the benefits that we are supposed to tap in as a country. And Mr. President, in his wisdom, created this ministry, which is very key to the development of the value chain and to improvement in the livelihood of the citizen.
How much of enlightenment, for instance, do you have with this? Because other controversies that have also followed this creation of livestock is that it's more like a reintroduction of Ruga, a situation where lands will be annexed by the government in order to create certain portions for that particular livestock. I mean, can you throw more light in that direction?
Okay, I think that response maybe will be done by the ministry, but as a project, I can tell you that it's very vital for us to have complete value chain enhancement through the livestock. Okay, let me just give you an example. The ENUGU state government, the governor has signed a ranch bill, not quite law, which is very key and is in alignment with what we are doing, the livestock value chain hue. It's just to organize the livestock farmers, those that are doing poultry, goat, sheep, to work in harmony for the benefit of livestock value chain, not to this land anyway. I'm just giving an example with ENUGU. I was so happy with what he is doing in order to improve the value chain. So that's our major distinct. Because we are not talking about the land, Ruga or something like that. Our own is that how will a livestock farmer, how can we affect the livelihood of the livestock farmer? And that's what we are doing.
Okay, talking about the farmers' headers clashes, what has this project done in curbing it so far?
Okay, the farmer header conflict, the conflict mitigation is one of the components of this project, and it has funds allocated for resolving conflict. Or we resolve conflict through provision of natural resources. What are the drivers of this conflict? Mostly is water and pasture, and we have done a lot in pasture. We have done a lot in water across the states. Then if you provide these two basic things, then you now go ahead and see how you can have committees to be resolving these issues as they arise. And as at each point of our project, we try to take the stakeholders alone in designing the project and implementation, because it's very key. If you are designing something for the benefit of the livestock farmer, let him know the benefit. Let him also have an input in what is happening. And that's what we are doing. And that's what we are appealing to all the states that are in this project. We follow so that at least proper engagement is done. With that, we know we will minimize the conflict drastically.
Okay, can you be specific with the collaboration between the states and the World Bank? You mentioned something about fund. What is the state specifically providing, and what is World Bank providing?
Okay, the loan is $500 million for Nigeria, and the states sign SLA, subsidiary loan agreement. That means they sign their own money and they're entitled to their funds, and they spend it according to the work plan that will be in line with the project development objective. All the activities that will take place at the state will have to align with improving productivity and commercialization of livestock value chain. And it's a performance base. If you perform as a state, you get more funds. If you didn't perform, eventually you will even be dropped out of the project. So as you perform, you improve productivity and commercialization, you will be gauged and you move to another stage. So that's how the alignment is. And each state is signing the SLA. So that means they are entitled to their own money and they pay back their money. So that's how it is. The federal, that is the federal is coordinating. We coordinate and we support institutions. That's our role, to support major institutions. For instance, let me just give you an example of the support. We are upscaling the vaccine production of NVRI. NVRI is Nigerian Veterinary Research Institute that is in Jos, in VOM Jos. They are a premier veterinary research institute in Nigeria, 100 years this year. We are upscaling their vaccine production from 120 million doses annually to around 450 to 500. This upscaling is with the full support of our ministers because they felt it's very important in this sector for us to upscale the vaccine production. At least, number one, we are reducing the capital flight out of Nigeria. We are also engaging our own people and we are producing. So if you are producing vaccine here, you'll be self-sufficient and you will handle the issue of the animal health issues. So that we are doing at the federal. But the states mostly are doing provision of natural resources. For instance, water, pasture, renovation of abattoirs, renovation of market, cattle market, poultry, and what have you, and all these things. So that's what they are doing that is directly linked to the livestock farmer. Thank you very much.
Okay, you did mention that it's a loan. Can you be explicit?
Yes.
What is the payment plan? What is the plan to refund the money from wherever it's coming from?
The money is coming from World Bank.
Yes,
it's
you
an
mentioned
idea,
that. That's what I'm
and
saying.
it's
What
not just
is
signed
the
now.
payment plan?
Well, the borrower is Federal Ministry of Finance, and I think they will be in better position to say when are they paying, but I know there's a moratorium for payment, and this payment will take like, I think 50 years or so, if I'm not this thing, but I don't have the full detail of how it will be paid. But as I told you, the states will pay back, the federal will also pay back. That's what is happening.
Okay, Sanusi Abubakar, many thanks for your input this morning. We do sincerely appreciate. That was Sanusi Abubakar, the National Coordinator, Project Coordinator for Livestock Productivity and Resilience Project. We will be back in a short while. The country keep having several talks. There have been several talks about the planned protest, the Day of Rage, which was stipulated for 1st of August, that is tomorrow. And on that regard, we will be talking about planned hunger and hardship protest. We have Reginald Nabwe Ekanyang joining us to talk about the security alerts. What should we expect? Should this happen? Should this not happen? Good morning, Reginald.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I would have really loved to have joined you on video, but I'm somewhere in a rural community in Benue State where the network infrastructure will not be able to carry the video participation. Yes, I want to say that, like you said, the protest. Is the protest necessary, and is the protest due? I would say with a very loud capital yes. Number two, why are the people actually protesting? As the topic indicates, we are talking about hunger and hardship. The overview of this aspect, these two aspects that we are about to discuss, is the fact that our leaders are actually not governing right. And if you look at the planned protest, it's basically about ending that government, which means that Nigerians over time have actually looked at our situation and have come to the sheer conclusion that the not supposed to be something that we should be discussing in Nigeria at all. Why? Because Nigeria is a very rich country. Nigeria is blessed with natural resources. We have large expanse of arable land, and we have enough resources coming from the oil sector that should have become the backbone of the industrialization of Nigeria. Now, but if you look at the Nigeria situation, you see that Nigeria is an import-based society, and no country is rich enough to import its consumables. The continuous import of products, of the consumables, the daily needs of Nigeria is just one thing, achieves one thing. It strategically exports the jobs that the people should be engaging in to earn a living for themselves. The hardship and the hunger that we are seeing is not because we don't have enough food in Nigeria. It is because Nigerians don't have enough money in their pockets to afford food. The food could be expensive. Yes, the situation of the country has changed since this government came in power, because a basic mistake that made from the beginning. Yes, we said, okay, that's the thing that subsidy should be removed. Then number two, on the first day, the president announced that subsidy will be removed. But the other mistake that they made was not to defend the Naira. Because the Naira was not defended, Naira was floated, the Naira collapsed. And because the Naira has collapsed, all the things that Nigerians use are based on imports. So Naira has collapsed, Naira can no longer afford to buy the things because we are import-based. And so the people now, their incomes have not increased, jobs are no longer there. How are we going to expect the people to be able to afford to live? So the people are protesting basically because 70 to 80 million Nigerian youths got off this morning. They don't know where they're going to earn the money that they are going to use to feed today. The bad governance is so staring us at the base. We have a National Assembly that feels that they can afford to go and buy luxury cars when there are companies in Nigeria that are producing cars, even if they are assembling cars, that if they acquire, because of the large orders that will come from the National Assembly, it means that the companies have capacity to expand. And if the expansion will create jobs, as long as we are not creating the jobs to employ the youth, Nigeria cannot develop. Development means job creation. When somebody's income increases, that person's life improves. If his income moves from 100,000 naira a month to 250,000 naira a month, you will realize that the person will no longer live in the same house he was living in when he was 100,000 naira. Where the children begin to go to school is not going to be the same when he was on that level. So you see, his life begins to improve. If he was not having a car or he was trekking, he can afford to buy a bicycle, or he can afford to buy a machine, or he can afford to buy a car. So his life improves, his life is developing. When somebody does not have access to opportunities to make money, he cannot develop. Development is not roads, building of roads. Development is ensuring that the people have capacity to earn a living for themselves. They don't want
Reginald.
People want to be able to go out in the morning and go and work. And that is how you address hardship and hunger. If somebody has money in his pocket, he will be able to take care of himself.
Reginald, your points are valid.
The opportunity to have money for himself is going to be independent. And
hello, Reginald.
The devil's workshop. They say an idle hand is the devil's workshop, and that is fact. So what is happening to Nigerians is that the leaders of Nigerians think that Nigeria has become their personal cause where they can keep their hands and do whatever they want to do. I was watching the other day at you, and we were talking about the fact that in Abuja that some of the shops were built and they were supposed to be reallocated to the people. And he was asking and saying that why would they use government money to build things and allocate things to the people? But he is there. He's a citizen of Nigeria. He lives from Nigerian money. His house is from Nigerian money. His children have.
Hello, Reginald.
Can
you hear me, Reginald?
And he thinks that he is the government. And I tried to answer that one of the clinical to him. And he said the government.
Wow. Hello, Reginald. Can you hear me?
The government, because the leadership is not seeing that the people is the what. The government should be about packaging the people to improve the economy.
Hello, Reginald. Can you hear me?
Improve the economy of the people.
Hello, Reginald. Wow.
Hello. Hello, Mr. Reginald.
Yeah, it's a conversation. So let's have a conversation, okay? I see how pained you are about this development, but again, you would take a cue from.
I didn't get you. I didn't get you.
We could take a cue from what had happened in the past. One of the reasons why the government is a little bit apprehensive about this particular protest is the experience of what happened in 2020. How
he was asking. You can ask him again. He was asking, the government are doing what they think is necessary. Okay, thank you.